Council meeting is called to order at 6:07 p.m. Do we have a member of the clergy here today? Pastor Greg, if you could lead us in the invocation today, and we will be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Councilwoman Manning.
Okay, if you bow your heads. Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. We're grateful for all the blessings you've given each of us. Thank you for our lives. Thank you for the freedom that we have here in the city. Thank you for the freedom that we have in America. I want to pray especially for the council tonight, to give them wisdom and insight as they grapple with some of the issues that come across their desk. I pray for the city attorney's office and the clerk's office and the police department, the fire department, Father, all those groups of people who help make our city what it is, safe and comfortable. So thank you for them. I pray that just really wonderful things come from their insights and their dialoguing together as a council. And I ask these things in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have any veterans in the audience? Can you stand so we can recognize you, please? Thank you. Thank you for your service.
Thank you. So let's just go ahead with the roll call, please.
Councilmember Johnson.
Present.
Councilmember Manning.
Present.
Councilmember Reyes English.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Montero.
Present.
Mayor Vargas.
Here. We have two items today. We have a presentation by Cosmont Companies regarding the economic development analysis for the city of Hawthorne. Go ahead.
Correctly. Perfect. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. Thank you very much. My name is Andrew Perez. I'm a vice president with Cosmont Companies. I'm also joined by our president, Ken Hira. We were actually just here February 25th, so we're back as part of an update to our analysis that we've been working on. And so what you'll be hearing today is a brief presentation. I'll walk through just some fundamental discoveries that we've had so far, but also kind of looking forward what we think we might want to investigate a little bit more into. And so as I mentioned, our work really is built upon our last discussion, February 25th, our preliminary and high-level market and economic development analysis is really looking at a variety of land uses, retail, hospitality, and also residential, right? So you'll hear a little bit of those. You'll hear a little bit of strategies. Nothing is concrete at this point. We are here essentially just to provide an update. We do anticipate that our analysis will take about another few more months, so we expect to be back here soon to provide our full report. So I'll start off by simply walking through a bit of a city preliminary SWOT analysis. SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. I think for us, what we really want to make sure we do when we come into a community and we provide services, we want to make sure we understand the city first. And so I've gone through here a bit of a SWOT analysis, and I obviously encourage you all to look at this more deeply and let us know if there's anything you feel like we're missing. But I won't go through every single detail either. But obviously, the city is in a strategic location within the South Bay. You're proximate to major freeways. You're proximate to LAX. You're proximate to SoFi Stadium and Intuit Dome. There's a lot going on here that obviously has a lot of strengths within the city. Tesla, your hub for aerospace and tech companies like Amazon. There's a lot of great things going on within the city. We want to make sure we're maximizing that. When we look about economic development and revitalization, we want to make sure we're keeping those into consideration. You do have a mid-sized hotel market with strong business and transit-driven demand. That's a great thing, especially with the FIFA World Cup coming soon and also with the Olympics coming just around the corner. Now, obviously, everybody's got some weaknesses. The city itself, what we noticed, at least initially, is that there are some retail vacancies that are a little bit higher than we anticipated. I think a lot of that has to do with the Hawthorne Mall, as you understand it, is very a large piece of property. And so when you look at a 4 million square foot inventory of retail, that's a big chunk. It's almost 1 million square feet just by itself. So that's something we want to make sure we're keeping an eye on. We will keep an eye on within this analysis. You do have a bit of an aging hotel inventory. It's about 30 years old. Obviously, there are some new properties and new hotels that have been recently developed, but we'll definitely be keeping an eye on that, especially as we talk about TOT and sales tax revenue with FIFA and the Olympics coming soon. There has been limited housing development recently, so we want to make sure we're thinking about the future in terms of how we develop not only high-density housing, but even the opportunity for sale, low-density housing around the city. There are opportunities related to redevelopment. We talked about the Hawthorne Mall as one. We've talked about the corridor itself. Hawthorne Boulevard has a lot of opportunity with some of the aging storefronts. And so how do we look at redeveloping that? How do we look at redeveloping the airport potentially? Those are all things we're going to be investigating further in our analysis. And then finally, with just threats, just at a high level, right now it's very infeasible to do development. It's just difficult across the board. There's tightening of equity and debt sources, and so we're seeing a lot of developers that are skittish at this point right now. And so we have to keep that in mind, and that when we run a pro forma, which we will do as part of our analysis of 3 opportunity sites, we're going to come back with the highest residual land value, and that is of today's perspective. Things may change in the future, and so we'll keep that into consideration, but oftentimes the market is really driving what our recommendations might be based on what the circumstances are overall in the industry. What you see here is a map of all the potential opportunity areas that we're going to be investigating. We do have 1 opportunity site. As part of this analysis, we're going to look at 3. So the mall is one of those 3, and we're still going to be identifying 2 more to do a full analysis on. We feel like a focus area really should be the corridor itself of Hawthorne Boulevard. It is a major retail, obviously retail commercial corridor, so we want to make sure we're keeping an eye on that and identifying what opportunities there are there. Now, as it relates to strategies going forward, one of the things we like to usually do is provide a roadmap for cities. In that roadmap, there are really 4 pillars that we look at. Real estate strategies, such as BEAR, and I'll explain what BEAR is in a little bit. But we also look at value capture using zoning and specific plan. I'll also talk about that in a little moment. And then we have tax increment financing districts. And kind of underlying all of that are really the billions of dollars that are available for grant funding from the federal and state sources that are available out there. So as I mentioned, we're going to be looking into strategies, but I think initially one of the things I wanted to mention, and I'd love to get your thoughts on, is how do we look at the corridor itself? You've obviously had a specific plan already done, and so how do we look at the current zoning there and look at modifying potentially to allow for more blended uses. As you can see, the yellow in the map there is really low density residential, but how do we get some of that residential a little bit closer to Hawthorne Boulevard and street facing areas? So we'll look into how to do that and provide some recommendations for that. We also will look at tools such as the Development Opportunity Reserve, which really enables additional density for community benefits. So this allows the city to not just give away that density, but use it as a bank to trade that density for potentially other public benefits that maybe are on-site or off-site. And so we can talk a little bit more about that when we come back as a potential strategy. Certainly in the near term, there is an opportunity to improve the condition of existing retail offerings. Some of the vacancies that we see in the city are primarily centralized along the corridor itself. The corridor, just at my last recent looking, it was 45.8% vacant. If you take out the mall, of course, it's better, it's 8.9%, but significant vacancy does exist in the corridor. We have to really address that, and some of that is facade related. It's just some tired, retail storefronts, and we want to make sure we're taking a close eye at that. So there are ways to do that. We have economic development initiatives that we'll take a look at to see what makes the most sense here. But just as a quick transition into what BEAR is, I know I told you I'd mentioned that. Business expansion, attraction, retention. We think this is a critical thing for all cities to do, but in particular with cities that have struggling corridors, vacancies. We want to make sure that we're looking at those vacancies to see what development opportunities there might be, but also re-tenanting opportunities. So that may mean reaching out to the property owner to see, what challenges are they facing, what can we do to help them. But it's also marketing to the broader development community, just let them know we are a business-friendly city. What can we do to help attract you and to come into the city to look at the opportunities that we have here? Involves outreach, it involves rehab, renovation. We talked about some of those improvement programs, facade improvement programs. These are all things that we can do to help some of those struggling corridors. And BEAR has really been successful throughout the state. In particular, Cosman has worked on a lot of sort of these types of programs. We helped Indian Wells, for instance, get a Sprouts in town. With Norwalk, we entertained Marriott and Hilton with some hotel interest in certain sites. And with the city of Carson, we helped them with an incentive program about doing facade improvements. So there are some opportunities there that we will also look at that are just like this here for this city, and we'll come back and share those findings with you all. And just finally here, a little bit about valley capture zoning. This is, again, just the idea. We don't want to give that density away. If we're going to build here and we're going to have some density, we want to make sure that through the planning process, through the specific plan, we're applying a tool within that specific plan that says, if you want more density, well, you're going to have to necessarily pay for it through public benefits. And so that just ends up coming through on a project-by-project basis through a development agreement. And that, again, is something we'll get into more detail as we do this analysis. And just to close, next steps, we're going to be back. We've got about 3 more months or so to do the analysis, to finish it up. But in that time, we do want to make sure we're engaging. We're starting that engagement process, that outreach process that I mentioned with the broker and business community, such as the Chamber of Commerce, others as well. We'll just kind of reach out directly to brokers and start to see, what challenges they're facing. I mentioned the 3 opportunity sites. We've got 1, the Hawthorne Mall. We will do 2 others as well. As part of that opportunity site assessment, we will also look at doing a pro forma for each of those just to see, again, what is the residual land value? What kind of land uses are we thinking about here from a market perspective that will do well at this point? And then again, in the future, what might that look like if it changes? Now, talked about some of the tools. We will come back again and hone in on which specific tools make the most sense for your community. So we'll come back with those. And then certainly after that, as part of a phase 2, we will proceed with an implementation, which can look like a variety of things again, whether it's BEAR and going to ICSC, which is kind of the largest commercial real estate networking event that happens in Vegas. That is where you want to be in terms of identifying specific tenants that you want, meeting with developers, meeting with hotels. And that is something that we can help certainly with as well in introducing you folks to the right people to make sure that those development opportunities are coming to fruition. So with that, I know I wanted to be brief as possible. Let me know if there's any questions. I appreciate your time, and again, thank you for having us.
Sir,
To the chair.
a real quick question? Well, not question, comment. I'll pass it on to you. So thank you very much. This is something that's very much needed. I think we've just been doing it just haphazardly, I would like to use the phrase. And finally, if we do some research to see, you know, what opportunities and this strategy where you say it's like not just give the density away, that it has to have that public benefit. I mean, that's kind of been my concern and the concern of many residents. It's just there hasn't been any public benefit when people have been given the density. So I think this is a better approach, and we just can't overburden the community, the city with unfunded, you know, city services that are just incurred when we start building. So I think this is good. Go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for the presentation. I just want to make sure that the community knows that the Hawthorne Mall does not belong to the city. It's not ours. It's privately owned by the Charles Company. It's been a thorn in our side for many years. And so I don't want to assume that this is the one area in which we should be, you know, hopeful, because I've had my hopes broken plenty of times in the times that I've sat here trying to develop that mall. So please keep that in mind. We have to move on and look elsewhere so that we could make sure that we're not leaving anyone out that wants opportunities in their businesses to grow. And that would include the 3 opportunities to start and advancing economic developments in maybe other areas. I know the Hawthorne corridor is empty with stores and boarded up, and it is a blight. We've seen that plenty times, especially during the COVID, and then coming back, and there's still some old buildings and old storefronts that need to change. And maybe those are the ones that we have to reach out to. And so I really want to focus on the opportunities that lie in those that are really blighted and have been like that for years. And then I also want to ask that Cosmont keeps pace with legislation coming out of Sacramento that we are either opposing or supporting, especially when it comes to development and especially when it comes to Senator Wiener. So that's what we're going to be taking up tonight in discussion. But I really hope that you could also follow that too, so that we could be in step together. And then I like the fact that we should be advancing more storefront facade so that there could be a uniform business across the board throughout the 5-mile radius of our city. And we see that in areas that are happening now. We would like to see more of it. And how do we do that? We need more funding for facades for businesses. And so I'd like to really keep that focus there so that we could see exactly what's taking place in real time when it comes to the businesses that are being provided facade funding, so that they could in turn see and share with other businesses perhaps on how they could do that. Because I understand in our outreach that we did previously that a lot of businesses were reluctant to provide any information because they felt that they were being maybe, you know, investigated or something like this, which that's not the case, especially for minority businesses and those that don't speak the language. So there needs to be an outreach and efforts in language so that everyone understands, communicates effectively, and that there isn't that type of stigma that folks are not wanting to share business information because of, you know, somewhere along the line that they heard that it's not what it is. But so we really need to work on that, because I really believe that we could have had some more businesses if they believed that we were trying to help. Right. But I really want to secure some more funding for facade business. Okay. But for the most part, I totally agree with the mayor. I like the direction that we're given with regards to Cosmont. I mean, you guys have been great with us in the past. You've worked with us previously in years. And so it's a big lift. And then also we really need to work on Chamber of Commerce. And that's a communication, you know, between you all that needs to be worked on and leveraged. But thank you for your presentation. Appreciate your time.
One more quick thing. I know that before, many years past, probably more than 20, 30 years ago, Hawthorne Boulevard we used to have the highest concentration of bars. I don't know, you're not aware of it. I mean, you're kind of young right there, and a lot of people don't, but I know that some of our senior members of our community remember that. And it was a good thing. It attracted a lot of people. There was livelier. And I know we've talked about, we have to drive outside of the city to go to eat, to go to, celebrate somebody's birthday and et cetera, right? So I think if you could take a look at the entertainment and dining aspect that could be introduced to the boulevard, reintroduced to the boulevard, what it would take, what kind of incentives we could realistically do as a city, right? Because we say that all the time, but it doesn't have to originate from our planning department all the time. Maybe there's some creative ideas that you have by having observed all the other cities that you've worked with, so that we could just revitalize that community, all different, not just bars. It could be, lounges and stuff, and even a little nightclub here or there for the different age ranges that we have in the community. Dining opportunities. What does it take to be able to fill that up and to make it work with the center median that we have, with the traffic that we have, you know what to do. You guys are the professionals. Mm-hmm. And of course, it would take a decision from our city council colleagues to be able to move forward with something. But at least if you could look at that, that'd be nice.
So, yeah.
Through the chair.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you again for coming. Second time this year, so we appreciate your presentation. I'm a big fan of the SWOT analysis. I've been doing that for many, many years. And then your bear is pretty good because we need to concentrate on those specific keys. But I have to agree with the mayor and also with Councilwoman English that we need to concentrate on that 9%, right? The 9% of the vacancy that could be the key to revitalize Hawthorne Boulevard. Because like she said, the mall has been broken promise about dozens of times, and it will not be ready for the Olympics, to tell you the truth. So we need to concentrate to create some business district. I would love to see Hawthorne Boulevard like the 3rd Street Promenade or the Colorado Boulevard in Pasadena. And even if you look at in Culver City, where it used to be Washington, I forgot the address. It used to be blind about 10 years ago. Now, if we go there, you see how different it is in Culver City. So we need to concentrate on those specific on Hawthorne Boulevard corridor, and then to tell you the truth, the specific plan, the downtown specific plan, I remember working on that maybe 12 years ago or 10 years ago. So we need to revise that. Like you said, and I'm glad to see that in our agenda we have a contract for the specific plan also to be updated. But the downtown specific plan, for us to be able to create business and financial district, maybe Imperial Highway, Hawthorne Boulevard, all the way to Rose Grand Avenue. Concentrate on those areas because I think the mall is an accept category that for us, we need to develop this other small business, right? Like the mayor said, we need to create a Hawthorne Boulevard that is like almost mobility hub that people can walk, dine, and entertain, and stop and shop, right? So we need to come up with those specific ideas to make Hawthorne a destination for like you said, for the World Cup coming up, the All-Star Games coming up, the Super Bowl 27, and then the Olympics 28. But like I said, so don't put your emphasis too much on the mall because we hope it would be developed maybe before the Olympics, but it's going to take a long time. So, and also to keep in mind that, Hawthorne, we only have about 27% home ownership. So we need to build more townhomes and condominiums for sale. So when you talk to developers, we are open for those. And that's the kind of thing that if they bring condominiums and townhomes for sales, to bring also mixed use, like to have commercial side of it. So that's my goal. right? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
I think that's it. Okay, just a moment. All right. All right. Thank you so much. I've just been informed that number 2 is not going to be going through, right? True? Okay. That item, okay. The guidelines for oral communications, please.
Pursuant to Government Code Section 54954.3, all remarks should be addressed to the City Council as a body and not to any individual council member. During oral communications, speakers shall have 3 minutes to state their business. The Brown Act prohibits the City Council from providing a detailed response or acting upon any items not contained on the agenda. The governing bodies as a body shall have the discretion at the close of oral communications to refer any remarks to the city manager for study, investigation, report, and/or recommendation.
Okay, thank you. Christian Bautista? Just a moment, sir. Just a moment.
Yep.
Go ahead, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor Mayorga and City Council members. It is my first time speaking up here, so forgive my nervousness or naivety to any of the procedures. But my name is Christian Bautista. I grew up in Lenox. I work in Hawthorne currently, and I'm also currently homeless. I'm here to ask you guys to adopt the recent LA County's ordinance to raise the minimum wage to a more sustainable living wage that would help combat things like poverty and my situation currently homeless. But I'm basically just want you guys to consider that given the SoFi Stadium and also our closeness to the LAX, which I believe is rising in costs, and for workers still following the state minimum wage of $16.50, it doesn't really seem, or hasn't been, at least for me, survivable or helpful, given that right now with my current employer, there's that issue that I also found out, which is Hawthorne being listed on government documents, on county official documents, as Hawthorne being listed as both unincorporated and incorporated city, which if it were unincorporated, we would be a part of LA County's rise of the minimum wage. And because it's not, we have that kind of like dispute between the employers and myself regarding that minimum wage ordinance that LA County just enacted on July 1st. And I used to be one of those people that thought that like raising the minimum wage would just make everything else rise in cost. But I think that things are already rising in cost, especially with the SoFi Stadium and the Olympics coming up. And so I'm just hoping that you guys can take a look at that. I did email you guys a draft ordinance just to try to make things easier or helpful. And I know that you guys are probably busy, as I am myself, just trying to survive. But I do appreciate you guys for your time, and it's just something that I had on my mind for quite a while, some time already. But I just recently found out how to do this and come speak to you guys personally. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Kathy Gore?
I agree about being nervous when you talk in front of this dais. Good evening to Mayor and council members and our city staff. I'm Kathy Gore. Recently, there's been a lot of discussion about the Hawthorne Pool at council meetings, and I wanted to weigh in. I'm a lifelong swimmer, so when I moved to Hawthorne almost 30 years ago, I was so excited to find the Hawthorne Pool and that there was an adult master swim program that I could participate in there. I've been swimming at our beloved Hawthorne Pool ever since. Hawthorne consistently runs an outstanding and fantastic summer aquatics program. And I want to give kudos to Kawana and Kevin and the Recreation Department this year for implementing online registration for the first time. I heard such great things from my local community of moms who are so happy to register online. I would like to ask maybe we consider that the city offer priority or early registration to residents before opening it up to the greater community next year. My husband also swims at the Hawthorne Pool. All 3 of our kids have taken lessons there. 2 of our kids are currently on South Bay Swim Team, which calls the Hawthorne Pool its home. We love, love, love our pool. I'm the founder of South Bay Swim Team, which has called that pool its home since the founding in the year 2000. And I was the head coach of the team until the end of last year when I retired. But as you can tell, I'm still kind of involved as a parent and as a community member with the pool. The team has always been made up of mostly Hawthorne residents, and we always give priority registration to Hawthorne residents. I'm also proud to share that probably half of the city's summer pool staff are South Bay Swim Team alums. So at the last council meeting, there was discussion about rental groups, and we all agree that the city's summer programs are the priority, especially in the summer months. Most of the rental groups operate year-round, and over the years, the rental groups and the city have always been able to find a way to work together on a schedule that accommodates everyone. What seems to be putting a strain on the schedule right now is a new policy where the Recreation Department is not allowing rental groups to be in the pool at the same time when the city is running programs, even when parts of the pool are completely empty or unutilized. The pool is large, and there are different parts of the pool, different areas of the pool that can accommodate many programs that could run at the same time, maximizing the needs of the community and income to the city. As Vaughn pointed out at the last meeting, the summer program is just 8 weeks of the year. That means that the rental groups are offering programming to the community members and rental income to the city all year long, including those 44 weeks when the city does not have a lessons program. I know that South Bay Swim Team has a lot of Hawthorne residents, and I suspect that the other rental groups do as well. So we're being served, the Hawthorne's community is being served not only by city-run programs, but also by the rental groups. So please, let's work together to share the pool for the community. And I want to thank you for your consideration and all of your leadership for our city. Thank you.
Danielle Rafiq.
Honorable Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Honorable City Council members, good evening. My name is Danielle Rafiq, a youth advocate committed to equity in education and access. Today, I've come here to address a very neglected issue in our community, which is the safe and reliable public transportation for K-12 and community college students. Back in the earlier 20th century, we had one of the largest and expensive railway system, which was called the Pacific Electric Railway. And it was for an initiative which was for people's benefit, but it turned into private profit. The corporate greed was so much that it killed all that initiative. And in the 1940s and 50s, General Motors, backed by other companies, and the car industry and the interest groups demolished the public transportation infrastructure. And the United States versus the National City National City Lines case, the General Motors was found guilty of dismantling the public transportation infrastructure. So I've come here that we, 30–40% of the Hawthorne residents and the students, we use public transportation daily. And we are facing those consequences back, which was in 1950s and 40s. According to the UCLA Levis Center Research Center, they conducted a survey of 1,282 people. 72% of the bus passengers and half of the rail passengers, they record sexual, verbal, and physical abuse. NBC Los Angeles reported an increase of 30% in sexual and verbal abuse and during school commuting hours in just last 3 years. Bureau of Justice doesn't say anything different. 12 out of 5 high school students, they face harassment and bullying while being in the public transportation. So I have a question that we are leaving our students vulnerable. I mean, well, we need a change for City of Hawthorne. They're going to be your future leadership, but leaving them vulnerable is not going to do anything. And I have a bill proposed to Assembly member of our 61st district, but I've come here to my city council first to address this issue. One of my own friend, I'm a cross-country runner, and she walks 5 miles to her house avoiding public transportation because what she have gone through over the past years. Leaving our students is not just what we can think about. We need to take actions. We need to take this seriously. We have Olympics coming up. We have the World Cup coming up. We don't have a working public transit system. And it reminds me that sometimes I think, are we children of a lesser God? Does it not cause us pain, that leaving us vulnerable? Thank you so much, and I hope that the City Council would address this issue and the City Manager, for this issue should be addressed in the very near future. Thank you so much.
Carol Maston. And we got your email, by the way, so if it might be related, but go ahead, ma'am.
Great. Good evening. My name is Carol Maston. I am a Holly Park resident, and I'm also the vice president of the Holly Park Homeowners Association. I've come requesting a proclamation. One of our longtime resident passed away, Mrs. Vera Mae Estridge. She was 91 years of age. She moved into the city back in 1962. And her services are on Friday, this coming Friday, and I was just requesting a proclamation from the city of Hawthorne for this longtime resident. I forgot to address the mayor and the council. Sorry about that. But anyway, I'm just requesting a proclamation for Mrs. Estridge on behalf of the city of Hawthorne. And I sent an email to Vaughn, and I also called and left all the information, and I also have the flyer with all the service information on it if you need it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Pastor Gwitch.
Hello. I just want to invite you guys to come to our HLMA meeting on Thursday. It's going to be at the Trinity Lutheran Church, which is on Inglewood. So I'm part of the faith community of Hawthorne, and we invite people, if you'd like to come out and meet some pastors, get some praying in, we'd love to have you come out. It's going to be this next Thursday, 7 o'clock for prayer, and 8 o'clock for just a regular meeting with people in the area. So love to have you come. It's open. You know, God's a good father, so if you want to come out and pray or hang out or talk about some things, love to have you come out. So thanks much.
Thank you, sir. I have no other cards. Anybody else who would like to talk, please form a line.
Hi, City Council. I know you're already familiar with Hansel, Sarai, and I, Kiara. Today, we're here to follow up on promises that were made and to hold you accountable for what you told us last Monday on the meeting we had one-on-one with you guys, or with some of you. You told us a public statement would be released addressing the ICE presence in Hawthorne and the reports of masked individuals in unmarked vehicles, as well as our protection that exists for our community. We know that this will be addressed later on today at the end of this meeting, but like we said, we want to remind you that when this is released, it needs to be easy, accessible, and easy to find, not just a post on a story, on an Instagram story. We expect it to be on the city's main homepage. Residents should not have to dig for these answers, and it should be easily accessible and accessed by all our residents. We also wanted to follow up on something you guys said last Monday when the chief of police said that he had no problem with Hawthorne police officers asking these federal agents who are claiming to be agents to identify themselves with the proper documentation. You guys stated that these officers would most likely not interfere if it looks like a civil arrest and if it doesn't seem to be escalating. We don't agree with that. We ask that you guys interfere either way if they are in unmarked vehicles and masked up. This should not be an issue. I feel like you guys should be asked either way, if it's civil or not. And then we understand that these agents are not required to respond to the police, but you guys did agree that it would be 100 times more likely for them to respond to somebody in uniform rather than a resident. We're asking you guys and the chief of police if there has been a clear protocol that has been created for Hawthorne PD on how they should handle these situations, and if all officers are being directed to question and document these masked individuals who are showing up in unmarked vehicles and in uniforms, and to investigate them. So please be transparent. And lastly, you promised us Know Your Right cards and resources to be shared with local businesses, since it couldn't be mailed to every Hawthorne resident. Has that actually been done? If so, which businesses, and where can I find this information? I emphasize that last question because I want to remind you that one of our top requests last Monday was transparency with the community, which you guys agreed to and even said yourselves that you guys need to work on communicating with your residences. And that's what we want from you guys and out of these statements. We want transparency. We want to remind you that we're watching, we're waiting, and we're not going away until overall transparency is given. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members. My name is Alejandra, and I'm a lifelong resident of Hawthorne over 30 years, and I'm a proud K-12 graduate of the Hawthorne School District. I'm also the daughter and granddaughter of immigrants, people who didn't just choose to come to this country, but who chose to come to this city. My parents are homeowners, they're small business owners in Hawthorne. They built their lives here, and they raised their family here. And this story isn't unique. It's a story of this community, families with deep roots and mixed statuses who've helped shape the city. That's why I'm here today to remind you that Hawthorne is a city of immigrants. I say remind you because the silence from this body over the past month makes it seem as if you've forgotten. ICE is here, they're causing fear, panic, and division. A pregnant woman, a US citizen, was arrested here in Hawthorne. Agents surrounded a church during service here in Hawthorne. Bounty hunters detained a man who pleaded out here for help here in Hawthorne. These aren't isolated incidents. These aren't happening across Los Angeles. These are happening here in our city to our people. I understand that you can't stop the actions, the cruel actions of the federal government, but you do control how you respond to protect and inform your residents. Let me explain something to you about constituent services. When your constituents say that you have not done enough, it either means one of two things. You either haven't done enough or you haven't communicated properly what you've done. An Instagram story is not enough, especially if it's only in English, not in Spanish or Tagalog, languages spoken by the constituents most impacted here. Your website is just links, no context, additional information. Your newsletter that was out today had no guidance whatsoever for residents or small business owners. Many of our businesses don't have signs designating private areas, where stating that agents can't enter here. Most of our public spaces don't have red cards available for pickup. And city channels aren't the only things that you have available to you. Every single one of you has a platform. If you can use it to celebrate ribbon cuttings, you can also use it to share emergency resources. Leadership does not stop when you exit City Hall. So I want to be clear, there's so much that you could be doing and other cities are doing it. You could share multilingual Know Your Rights resources, red cards, hotline numbers, legal resources on each of your platforms. You can host in-person or virtual trainings with trusted organizations like Jirla or Carecen. You can work with our schools and our library to create resource hubs for families that have been impacted. Partner with legal aid groups to offer family preparedness workshops so parents that can make a plan for their children. Support small businesses with signages, trainings, and access to relief funds. Issue a resolution. I understand that this is on the agenda today. I want to point out that you could have done this weeks ago, and any further delay begs the question to why there is a delay in the first place. Use your newsletter, social media, and television channel not just once, but consistently, multiple times a week, if not every day, to provide updates, resources, and reassurance. And above all, canvass your neighborhoods. Talk to your small business owners, your constituents every day. And I'm inclined to believe that you're not doing this because, again, my family owns a business here, my family owns a home, I also live here, and I've not been in contact with any of y'all. Other cities are doing this, cities with fewer resources than Hawthorne. So the question isn't whether it's possible, it's whether you're willing. Are you going to show up for us or not? We deserve more than your silence. We deserve your leadership. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Council members. Pardon? Okay, good evening, council members, mayor. My name is Eric Brenneman. I live in the Holly Glen community. It's a little bit mellower discussion. It's just there's a dog park that was created at the end of the cul-de-sac at Glasgow Place and Wiseburn Street. It was built in like 6-7 months ago, and it's been completed, and it's been locked up and gated, and the grass is overgrowing. And I'd emailed the city council. I don't know if I have the right email address from your website, talking about communication and getting in touch and responding. I've never heard anything back, so we're just kind of wondering if there's any plans for that opening up and maintaining it. Because you have the Glasgow path where you can walk your dogs, but it's nice to have a little park where you can like let them off leash and run, because you're not supposed to do that on the path, but people do. So that's all.
Good evening, Council. My name is Eric. Alex and the Council, I'm furious. Don't be proud young people are here. We don't want to be here, but you and the Council are not satisfying me or the residents of Hawthorne. I didn't refer to you as mayor because you failed to meet even the basic expectations. My first demand out of many is to reconsider priorities. It is ridiculous that Alex and the Council prioritize deleting Instagram comments and blocking accounts that criticize their lack of action against ICE rather than doing something simple as listening and making a post, not a story that is difficult to find, a clear post that is concise and that speaks out against ICE operations and offers advice to protect Hawthorne residents. In a democratic society, leaders don't censor individuals or are intolerant to criticism. So I respectfully ask you, Alex, and the Council, to please review the actions of the Hawthorne Instagram account and reconsider priorities, unless you want to continue marrying the fascist Trump regime. Alex, if you and the Council fail to even meet the super easy expectations, I will continue to raise awareness of the corrupt actions within the Hawthorne Council and will strive for impeachment with every ounce of soul and passion within me, because leadership needs to be above and beyond for its residents and not the bare minimum. Lastly, I demand you to unblock all Instagram accounts that respectfully criticized you and the Council, including myself. There's no reason for my respectful, silly comment, can the city of Hawthorne post about ICE and our rights instead of pizza, to have been blocked. And Alex, don't say you love Menudo when you hesitate to protect the people. Cities like Gardena, Torrance, and Glendale didn't hesitate. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Nicole Rivas, lifelong Hawthorne person. I know it may seem that you are being told the same thing over and over again, but that should really just show you how strongly we feel that you are not doing enough as a council. The 2020 census reported over 88,000 residents in Hawthorne, with 53.7% of them being Hispanic or Latino. There's only one immigration lawyer in this whole town, which is a private practice located less than a block away from the Ocean Gate Plaza, where the poor man was kidnapped in broad daylight, where the women who called the police had to see that none of them came for 10 minutes and they approached without sirens on. In an area that has had heavy ICE presence in the last couple days as well. Obviously, we as citizens do not know every obscurity of the local government and what it takes to get certain things done, but we do know that in the last month there has not been nearly enough actions from our elected officials. And I emphasize elected because you would not be here without us. You're not poking the bear by protecting your people, you're poking your people. The people who had the power to put you in those seats that you are in right now, and the people who have the power to revoke that as well with a recall, if we need to. As has been mentioned, there are no official Hawthorne resources being circulated, only outsourced resources that lead to the LA County. That's all we ask, really. Just thank you.
Good evening, everyone, Council. I want to start off by thanking everyone for being here today. I know it's a Tuesday. We all have, I guess, better things to do, and you still made time to show up and speak to City Council and speak for your neighbors, so I truly appreciate that. I know my colleagues do. Last Monday, as my colleague Kiara said, we had a private meeting with the mayor, Mr. Robert Kim, city manager, chief officer, and a couple of the sergeants are here. And you know what? I was thankful for the opportunity to talk to you guys. We were told certain things, a couple promises, and no, we're just here to follow up. And as you guys know, we'll continue to be here till we see better progress and better action from the city. We did see a statement, a better statement, a proper statement rather, made on the agenda. It hasn't been posted yet. I'm sure it's going to be posted sometime today. We're looking forward to that. There was a lot of clarity, which we do appreciate. We were also told, like Kiara said, that businesses were going to receive Know Your Right cards. I'm not sure they have just yet. I've reached out to a few last week, this week as well. They haven't confirmed. Granted, not every business in the city, but I would like an update on that. Maybe you guys can put like a weekly update on the website. That would be fantastic. I also do hope that you guys are paying attention to when citizens are here speaking to you guys. Sometimes it feels that, you know, that's not being the case. And I take people, you should take everyone's time serious as well. And we also, during the last Monday meeting, I said that as a resident of Hawthorne, I don't feel safe, I don't feel okay with a police officer only stepping during a detainment if it went south. I suggested, I demanded rather, that police officers do question and investigate every detainment, because as we know, they're not always federal agents, unfortunately. The chief officer, who's here right now, they didn't seem opposed to that. But we also couldn't get for him to commit to that. A few days later, LAPD demanded officers to properly investigate at any detainment that they saw. And we're not want to push for that to be the case going forward. We understand that you guys are not superheroes, neither is PD. But, you know, if I was being detained, because I might one day, hopefully not, but there's a chance it happens now, I would like a police officer that's supposed to protect the peace to at least question whoever's doing that to me. Because obviously they won't answer to civilians, but we all agree that, including yourself, that they're more likely to answer to a police officer. So again, we hope that that's part of your protocol going forward, and we'll be here until we reach an agreement. And thank you all for showing up. Be safe. And thank you for the fund, everyone that donated for the fund. We appreciate you guys. Stay tuned with the general fund for all vendors and small businesses in the area, because we care about the community. And if leadership won't do anything about it, God knows we will. So thank you guys so much.
Hey guys, my name is Keith Suarez. I'm a teacher. To his point, actually, Huntington Park, the city of Huntington Park, they've been a lot more proactive in investigating who is actually, you know, saying who appears to be ICE, like investigating, are they who they say they are? Can they identify themselves? Because in the vast majority of cases, they're not identifying themselves, no warrants. They're just kidnapping people. And oftentimes I've heard stories of them taking them to warehouses, not giving them food, right? It's, I did want to respond to, I've been thinking about this for weeks, and I want to believe that you guys are all on the side of human decency here. Mayor Vargas, you mentioned a couple weeks ago that your family came here a couple generations ago from Mexico, fleeing from crime and corruption. And I think that that's a beautiful story. As I'm watching these videos of people being like fruit vendors, ice cream vendors, Home Depot day laborers, people picking radishes in the fields, as I'm watching these videos of people being kidnapped, essentially, I'm thinking about why they came here from, you know, possibly Mexico, Latin America, right? I'm thinking about the drug cartels. Why do they exist? So I could spout a bunch of statistics. I don't want to put anybody to sleep. But basically, drug consumption in Mexico is less than 10% of what it is in the United States. Illicit drug consumption across all drug categories, across all age groups, and that's data from 2023. So we are creating Mexican drug cartels, the United States is. And then we slam the door in the face of people who are trying to flee from the crime and poverty and corruption and violence that we are creating in their countries. So isn't that interesting? I do want to tell everybody in this room about calexitnow.org. That's where my mind is at. That's where my heart is at. I fully support blue states talking about secession at this point. And we do have legal avenues to pursue that, actually. The 1869 Texas v. White case laid out a groundwork, a path for blue states to petition to secede, and then we just need 3/4 of the states in Congress to approve for us to secede. I think that that is a tool in our toolbox that we should be using if the Trump regime is going to come into our state with armored vehicles into a park with nothing but peaceful protesters. It's fun to watch people wave at the armored vehicles as they passed by, wasn't it? Thanks, everybody.
Hello, everybody. My name is Josue. Some of you may remember me from last time. I was the one that was saying that I text my elotero, see where he's at. He's on vacation, actually, you know, a little sabbatical till things die down, whenever that is. Like last time, also, I'm kind of just winging it, you know, so I'm kind of hopping around a little bit. But, you know, like what, a couple weeks ago, right, it was those two representatives from the Democratic Party that got assassinated, right, by someone impersonating an officer. So, you know, you can't help but like kind of think like these so-called agents, right, that are all like masked up head to toe, you know, role playing and stuff, like who's to say that they're not impersonating too? You know, so like I can't like I'm scared, you know, like what if I get grabbed, you know, like hey, I have a passport, right? You know, shout, you know, and don't take me, you know. So yeah, it just makes me really, you know, really nervous. I don't like going outside anymore. You know, it's just kind of scary. And like, I'm also not religious, right? But there's a Bible verse that I came across the other day. And it's from Leviticus 19:33, 19:34. It says, when a foreigner resides among you in your land, do not mistreat them. The foreigner residing among you must be treated as your native born. Love them as yourself. For you were foreigners in Egypt. I am the Lord your God. Oh, that's it. Thank you.
I'd like to say hello to the council. My name is Mark Shea Smith. I have grown up in sort of in and out of this city throughout my childhood, and I've resided within the city for the past 5 years consistently. What I'm currently up here to speak about is I'm kind of what I fear and how we can stand up against it. I, like many other people who are both here and are not here, have witnessed what I can only describe as kidnappings and abductions of members of this community by agents of the state and malicious thugs. I see people getting black-bagged and thrown in trucks and SUVs. This is the type of thing that you see in authoritarian regimes. Many of these abductions are being carried out by bounty hunters and by law enforcement individuals. Many of these people have just bought gear off of Amazon and are abducting people. There's been reports of children, women being sexually assaulted by these people pretending, or in this case, I feel like they've gotten a blessing from the state in almost a weird way. I believe many of these individuals are motivated by ethno-supremacist ideologies and are using what seems to be the blessing of the state to carry out their sick agenda. For example, James Roden, an assistant chief counsel with ICE, is currently being investigated for running an X account which routinely espouses racist and anti-immigrant rhetoric, even going so far as to quote, saying, "It is our holy duty to guard against the foreign hordes, and nobody is proposing feeding migrants into tree shredders yet." There are many cases of ICE disregarding people's IDs and their social security cards, claiming they're fake and throwing them out and imprisoning people. This is an occurrence that is currently happening. I don't want to live in a police state. I want all people to be free. Many of these people have fled their countries to the US as a result of our foreign policy. And I believe that actions have consequences, and rather than righting our wrongs, this is only making it worse with... I see my time. Thank you so much.
Hello, good afternoon, Mayor and City Council members. My name is Brianna Diane Vargas. I've lived in Hawthorne for about 8 years. I finished my senior year here. And quick question, Mayor Vargas, you look tired, and you look like, since my colleague Kiara started speaking, you look bored. So I would like your full attention. So what's happening right now with the ICE raids and these bounty hunters that are not asking for IDs or warrants, it causes fear. Majority of the residents here in Hawthorne are Hispanic community, Latino community. So, and I see a lot of POC up here. So, hi, Alex Montero. I know that you've been here about, you got into the US about 30, 35 years ago. So the question is, ICE agents have already hit the Haitian community over there in New York City. So the question that you guys should ask yourselves is, when will they hit the Black folks over here, making a target for everybody else, a target that they already wear on their backs every day? When will they take, how many of us Latinos are they going to take until they hit the next group, the Asian community, the Haitian community, from Jamaica? How long is it gonna take? Are you guys going to put a statement right away the next day? You guys have the power to do more. So I ask you, Mayor Alex, where is the passion and love for your people that you state you have? Where is it? Because we can't. I don't see it. A story on Instagram is not enough. It's not enough. You guys worried about your events and all this. I love that for the kids. But even kids that of this age right now, their age, 8-year-olds, 10-year-olds, they're aware of what's going on right now, because that's something, what's going on right now is something that you cannot hide from your kids. You cannot tell them, oh, it's fine, it'll be gone in a week, because we don't know when. You probably don't even know when. This is gonna keep going, and we're still going to be here and showing up and reminding you and demanding for things to be done, for things to get done, so these residents can feel safe. Because I fell in love with the Hawthorne Boulevard here. I fell in love. I was like, oh my God, it's a lot of businesses. I love it. A lot of lights. But in those businesses, are in the back, washing the dishes, is our people. They're afraid. I bet they're afraid. And they still risk their lives to go to work every day because there's food to be put on the table and rent to be paid. And they still wonder, does my boss care about me? Does the mayor care about me? Where's the statement? Where is the action? Thank you.
Good evening, Council. It's been 30 days since ICE raids began. And in those 30 days, we've witnessed unmarked vehicles pulling people off.
Can you speak into the mic so we can hear you?
Can you hear me?
Get closer.
Sorry, it's my mask. Can you hear me now? Okay. Good evening, Council. It's been over 30 days since ICE raids began, and in those 30 days, we've witnessed unmarked vehicles pulling people off the street in broad daylight, families torn apart, and an entire community left living in fear. And still, no official statement from this Council, no reassurance, no tangible solution. Handing out red cards is not enough. Expressing sympathy is not enough. We need action. We need transparency. As a yoga teacher, I try to live by the 8 limbs of yoga, the yamas and niyamas, including the principle of ahimsa, nonviolence. Ahimsa teaches us to actively do no harm, not just through action, but also through inaction. Remaining silent while our people in our city are being surveilled, detained, and terrorized is a form of harm. Let me share what Downey is doing in response to their own community's fear. They are proposing a $100,000 relief package for families affected by ICE raids. This includes cash assistance, legal defense, trauma support, and public education efforts. But they didn't stop there. They're also introducing an ordinance that would prohibit federal agents from wearing face coverings or operating without ID, something we know is causing additional fear. They're proposing a resolution condemning ICE aggressive tactics, and they're considering adding legislative support from comprehensive immigration reform to their city's platform. This means that they're willing to advocate for systemic change, something this council could and should be doing too. You might be thinking, well, we can't give out money. But the point is that Downey is doing what they can with what they have because they recognize their role in protecting their people. We do not need to reinvent the wheel. We can start with small human acts, like bringing back the city's produce giveaway. Why was this program taken away when we need it now more than ever? Many families have lost income due to raids. People are scared to go to work, and others simply can't. A drive-through produce giveaway can offer dignity and nourishment while reaffirming that the city still stands with its residents. So I asked, will you condemn these violent acts like other cities have? Will you advocate for a policy that prioritizes transparency and accountability? And will you do what's within your power to protect, support, and nourish the people you were elected to serve?
Sorry, ma'am, your time is up.
Thank you.
Can you hear me? Yes, good evening, Mayor, council members. My name is Derek Jones, and I represent a company called Legal Shield. I was invited here by Patricia just to share our company and our service. And what we do is, as a 33-year-old company, we offer legal help for families who need legal protection. We offer identity theft protection as well, and we also cover small businesses and commercial drivers. So what we do is we have an app on our phone, so if you tap the app, you have access to legal help. And not just when you're in trouble, but just living everyday lives. So even here after 7 p.m., if you have an emergency situation, you have access to an attorney. So all you have to do is tap your app. Like if you have Uber, you have a car with our service, you have an attorney 24 hours a day. So we're just here to offer our services to here for the city of Hawthorne. We are a member of the chamber, and we are here to help and service the community. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Oh, this is too tall. Hello, good evening. Can you guys hear me? Yeah? Okay, perfect. So good evening, City Mayor and City Council. My name is Grecia Gonzalez, lifelong Hawthorne resident who as of many years has seen an array of accidents and abandonment on behalf of the city, especially on the east side of Hawthorne between Prairie and Crenshaw Avenue. Okay? I come to you this evening to shed light on the need of paved streets, better lighting, and speed bumps in the area, specifically through my own neighborhood on 135th Street. Throughout my childhood to this current day, I have seen multiple accidents, and neighbors who live within the neighborhood have always desired better streets, better watch, and speed bumps. Speed bumps were provided near the schools of Zella Davis, Kornblum, Bud Carson, and Prairie Vista South, which is very beneficial to protect the schools, but the one street that is more transited has been the one mostly overlooked and is forgotten, and is the one that has had the most accidents, including accidents that have personally affected me. In 2004, my grandmother had crossed the street to go pick up my sister from Zella Davis and was hit and thrown at a great distance from my home to the apartments that are 5 houses away from my home. She was pronounced dead at the hospital, but by the grace of God, she revived after having been pronounced dead for 15 minutes. My grandfather was riding his bike crossing the street on 135th and Cerise and was thrown as well and had a broken arm. This occurred in 2003. Many years continued, and I have continuously seen more accidents of people speeding down 135th, nonstop ramming into cars, cars hitting homes, hitting people, cars flipping over, hydrants being hit. My family truck was declared a total loss due to a man who was speeding and rammed his truck into the rear axis of my truck. This accident occurred on December 23rd, 2023. That is a work vehicle that my family required, and it was our only vehicle needed. That caused a lot of hardship on our own business. 2 days later, another accident occurred on the corner of Cornbloom and 135th. A few months ago, a speed chase occurred, and a car that swiftly ended up hitting a hydrant that almost hit my brother-in-law ended up hitting a hydrant and crashing into the fence and playground of Prairie Vista Middle School. Okay, so overall, I just want to repeat myself. I want you guys to please not forget the east side of Hawthorne. We also pertain to Hawthorne. 135th has been a very, very heavily transited street, and it must be seen. That is all. Thank you.
Good evening, Council. I understand that what is happening in our community regarding ICE has been collectively impacting a large portion of our community in what felt like was overnight. And maybe the gravity of this issue means that it is something that takes more discussion and more planning on your end than what you're used to handling so urgently. However, it is for that reason of its gravity and urgency that we expect and beg you to prioritize this in order to make progress faster and not use that as an excuse. We expect you to handle this with the same urgency that it is affecting us and members of our community. And at this point, several weeks have passed without any further resolution to make Hawthorne feel safer. Understand that this is your opportunity as community members in positions of power, and we come to you and we trust you with our needs because you put yourselves in front of us with those expectations, and all we do is ask for your care. But if we look around and we see other cities and their city council members in the same positions as you, making more progress and bigger statements of safety without excuses, it shows us that maybe you aren't taking your roles as seriously as others, and that's frightening, to know that those who are meant to protect you aren't. If you don't feel like that represents your personal feelings and you feel like you do care about us and you care about Hawthorne, then please show us by taking further actions faster to protect Hawthorne, the city which you've chosen to represent. Thank you.
Good evening, Council. My name is Victor Nesta Jimenez. And to be fully transparent, I didn't have anything written prepared, but I look around, not just tonight, but the last few weeks, and I can't help but be inspired by my community neighbors. And I have no issue being redundant or echoing the sentiments that have been repeated all this whole month. Very clear, very apparent that ICE and false ICE agents are intruding our communities. And it's very simple. We just asked you guys to do something. Every level of government is absolutely historic, and your names are written in our city's history forever. So I want it to be crystal clear that your public understands that you are our representatives, and what you choose to do in this moment will be echoed forever in our city's history. So please beg you to be wary of that. If it's not for just your own moral obligation, it serves in your best interest, because this is a time where I've never seen so many young people become so politicized, become quote-unquote woke, and even radicalized, because this is for real, and this is a turning point, and I would believe in our city's history. So appreciate you.
Good evening, everybody. All right, I just want to thank everybody for donating to the Good Neighbors United Street vendor funds. The community showed up and was able to change one of our vendors' lives, raised a lot of money for him, just to let you guys know. Very impactful. I'm a young black man. I've seen a lot of change. I've seen a lot of things in Hawthorne, but also, like, I have a lot of friends that are Hispanic. I have a lot of friends that are worried about their neighbors, about their family. So I just want to, before I read off the rest of this, I want everybody to know that we are a community, and I need everybody to be involved with each other in this time, because we're not just Hispanic, we're not just black, we're not just white. We're the people of Hawthorne, and we need to be together in that time. So with that being said, we will be hosting a Loteria night. How do you say it? Loteria, my bad. Loteria night this Friday at 6 p.m. to get more funds for the people in need. The community is all we need and have these days, like I said before. To those watching the stream and those who are here, please try and catch us at the end of today's meeting at the city, as the city is supposed to properly address the raids impacting the community we love. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Good evening, everyone. It's encouraging to see that revitalization and the economic development is finally moving. And I hope the efforts that I'm seeing can be expedited. I'm sorry, mine is a whole different subject from what the last 10 speakers. But what was shown today by the gentleman, the development economic stuff, it was nice to see the visuals of what we can be and hopefully will be in the very near future. And hopefully we don't have to wait for the Olympics for that to happen. I also want to echo Council Member Angie English's remark about the need to address the issues with the Chamber of Commerce. A strong, effective chamber is essential to supporting our local businesses and economic goals. A new chamber wouldn't be a bad idea. And as always, I am against high-density apartment projects. I also agree with Council Montero. I believe that well-designed condos and townhomes would offer ownership opportunities for long-term residency. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's a hard job to please different needs of Hawthorne residents, and I want to thank you guys for everything that you do and for putting up with everyone on our demands and what we feel that we all want. I'm still waiting for my parking permits. Thank you.
Hello, good evening. Can everyone hear me okay? Sorry? This Friday at 6 p.m. If you can reach out to Good Neighbors United, the location is being kept a secret just for everyone's safety. It's a private event. So if you like to know more information, we are Good Neighbors United on Instagram. You can follow us there to stay updated with everything that we're doing. Good evening. My name is Ana Suarez. I grew up in Hawthorne, and honestly, I'm an introvert, so this is not like me to do, but I feel like I need to say something. So like I stated, I'm from a Instagram group called Good Neighbors United. Last week, my husband and I spent time volunteering to help deliver food for families in need. The families we deliver to are families that are understandably too afraid to leave their homes. No individual should be going through this, so what can we do to help? We can't call ourselves the city of good neighbors unless we do everything we can to make our community and neighboring communities feel safe. If there is still fear, we still have work to do. I'm here to let all of you present and those watching from home that we see you, we carry your pain with us, we see your fear, but we're not going to stop using our voices to stand up for you. Comunidad, estamos aquí para ustedes, cargamos su dolor y entendemos su miedo, pero quiero que sepan que nosotros no vamos a parar de usar nuestras voces hasta que todos se sientan a salvo. Thank you.
Seeing no other speakers, oral communication is closed to order. Madam Clerk?
Mr. Mayor, I have 8 items on the consent calendar. There are items 3 through 10 for your consideration and approval. Item 3, City Treasurer requests approval of the warrants. Item 4, approval of waiver of full readings and resolutions and ordinances on Tuesday, July 8th, 2025's agenda. Item 5, Resolution 8539, a resolution of the City of Hawthorne City Council approving the application for Land and Water Conservation Fund Hawthorne Memorial Park Upgrade Project. Item 6, Resolution Number 8543, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Hawthorne, California, establishing an on-street parking space at 11323 Mansell Avenue for the exclusive use of physically handicapped persons. Item 7, Resolution Number 8544, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Hawthorne, California, establishing a four-way stop at the intersection of Oxford Avenue and 118th Street. Item 8, Resolution Number 8545, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Hawthorne, California, approving to join a joint powers agreement with Public Risk Innovation Solutions and Management. Item 9, Resolution 8546, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Hawthorne, California, to approve the California Statewide Communities Development Authority, CSCDA, Open PACE Program. Item 10, Resolution Number 8547, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Hawthorne, California, approving a consultant agreement with Kimley Horn and Associates, Inc. to update the city's general plan for adoption.
To the chair.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to pull item 10 for discussion, and I'm good with everything else. I'll move.
Just a moment. Let me take a look. All right. I'll make a motion on all items except 10.
Second.
Please vote.
The votes are in. The vote reflects mayor and council voting yes.
Item 10, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. This is for discussion, item 10, resolution 8547, with regards to the approval of a consultant. Vaughn, can I ask you, or who can I ask with regards to how we came about? I'm reading the recommended motion. I'm reading the item number 8547 resolution, and I'm seeing the dollar amount with regards to an over a 3-year period with approximately $500,000 from the general fund for each fiscal year, starting fiscal year 25-26. It looks like there was only, from what I'm reading, two proposals that came. How many proposals, Greg?
Yes, it was.
Okay. We received 8 proposals,
wow,
which is actually a pretty good number, more than we expected.
Yeah.
I have to say that all 8 of the proposals were very good. You can see by the scores that they got that the range was narrow. However, the committee that was established between department heads and some managers and supervisors were able to narrow it down to 4 right away, and then the top 4 were interviewed on late May. And of the 4, again, the scores were very narrow. They were all very well qualified, but one was eliminated for being just a little bit less highly ranked than the others, and another one was eliminated for cost. It was exceptionally higher than the others. So we got down to 2 very good firms, and then in consulting with the committee that selected them, we eventually came down to recommending Kimley Horn.
How many members of the committee?
It varied. I don't remember the exact number. It was about 8 or 9.
Okay, so this is for the general plan to adopt. You mentioned in parts of 1989 and 1990, but the plan is basically to implement all the circulation element that was updated from 2015, right?
Yeah, actually all of the elements except for the housing element, which was adopted in 2023, and the environmental justice element, also adopted in 2023, and the safety element, which was updated in 2023, are to be updated. Most of them have been updated in the early 2000s, like 2010s, 2015 era. 2 of them have never been updated, and all of them are basically considered to be beyond their normal lifespan.
To not exceed the amount that's listed here, was that the lower amount out of the 4?
I think it was the second lowest, to be honest. It was very close to the lowest.
Okay. And we're good, Vaughn, with regards to the $500,000 from the general fund commencing 25,
Yes, we are.
26?
We're budgeted for this. And Greg, if you can explain very briefly what the general plan is and why that's a necessity for the city.
Sure. In the broadest sense, the general plan is the city's master policy document, and all of the laws of the city in the municipal code are tiered off of that. They have to conform with not only the state law, but with also our general plan, which is the policy document. There are, forgive me, I forget, I think there's like 7 mandatory elements, and we have 1 extra one, which is economic development.
Right.
And they're all overdue to be updated because at this point, they're kind of holding us back from making some of the big changes that we want to make because of the changes that we want to make have to be in conformity with our general plan, which was written in 1989 and 1990. The situation has changed a lot in the city since then, and we need to be, one, more flexible, and we also need to be more, or recognize that technology and the way people live and the way people conduct business, everything has changed, and our general plan is very outdated and holding us back.
Thank you. And I hope that this is a general plan that's also going to be put into our website so that we could read all the updates as
Yes.
because I know that's something that sometimes is delayed, but I think it's very important that we also note the updates.
Thank you. That's a very good point. We've already established a general plan update webpage under the planning page. And on there, we are going to continuously update with everything that's going on. So every time there's going to be a meeting, we'll have the notice there. We'll have the materials there that are going to be discussed, the agendas. We'll also have minutes from past meetings. We'll also have drafts of things that are being considered by the General Plan Advisory Committee, which hopefully will be forming very soon. And also, the consultant has agreed to provide us with a steady flow of like digital outreach.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, which
Greg,
we'll
one more
post on
question.
that side.
Can you speak about the community outreach, if there's going to be any for this
Oh
plan?
yeah, there's going to be a lot of community outreach. I've already spoken to one of the neighborhood associations, and I intend to do that with others as well. This is a community-wide project, and everyone in the community is expected to have an opportunity to participate. And there's going to be many, many ways to participate. There's going to be targeted outreach. There's going to be general outreach. The consultant that we have recommended has a sub-consultant that specializes in public engagement. And I thought that was a very important component. They all had that to some extent. So I wrote the RFP in such a way that that would be key, because I don't want people left out. I don't want people to feel like this is being, done behind, out behind closed doors. This is a very transparent process, and there will be a lot of engagement over the next 3 years.
Thank you, Greg. And in closing, I just want to encourage and assure that the outreach efforts are made in languages that are needed in the community to be able to fully be transparent and to fully understand what the general plan is and how we're doing our best to implement the rules and policies for the city of Hawthorne in the website, so it's feasible for all and accessible. So thank you for everyone's efforts, and Vaughn, thank you for your item.
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah.
To the chair. Greg, sorry. Just wanted to ask, Cosmot Company,
Yeah.
as regard to this general plan, how do they work together?
Yeah, the Cosmot work is in conformity with our existing economic development element, and also with our economic development strategic plan. Now, the economic development element is probably not going to need a lot of work. It's probably just going to need to be verified that it's in conformity with the other changes we're making. So it fits in with this. They'll be done within a few months. We'll have that available to us. The consultants will have it. And there's also other work that is going on through the COG that will be in the same position.
Okay.
So we'll have access to all of that, and it all gets integrated into the general plan.
Thank you.
I move. Second. Everyone, please vote.
The votes are in. Voting reflects mayor and council voting yes.
Thank you, ma'am. City manager's consent calendar.
City manager's consent calendar, item 11, fiscal year 2025-2026, blanket purchase orders for the housing department. Item 12, sublease non-disturbance and attornment agreements regarding Hangar 15 from Eric Ludwig to 395 Park Place LLC. Item 13, agreement between the City of Hawthorne and the City of Manhattan Beach for supplemental law enforcement jail services. Item 14, progress payment number 5 in the amount of $624,726 $624,726.21 due to PCN3 Inc. of Los Alamitos, California for City of Hawthorne New Senior Center, project number 24-03. Item 15, award of contract for resurfacing of runway 7 to 3 through 25 and resurfacing of taxiways and trench drain extension for Hawthorne Municipal Airport, project number 25-06. Item 16, blanket purchase order for City Guard. Mr. Mayor, that concludes the City Manager's consent calendar. May I have a motion to approve items 11 through 16?
I'll move.
It's been moved and seconded. Please vote.
The votes are in. Vote reflects Mayor and Council voting yes.
The City Attorney's consent calendar, please.
Item 17, claim for personal injury by Anthony Odell Punchi. Recommended motion, staff recommends that the City Council deny the claim by Anthony Odell Punchi. Mr. Mayor, that concludes the City Attorney's consent calendar. May I have a motion to approve item 17?
I move.
Second.
Okay, please vote.
The votes are in. Vote reflects Mayor and Council voting yes.
Thank you. Want me to wait for you? Okay. Look. All right, so we only have one action discussion item, and it's the city statement on the immigration enforcement action. This was generated by our city attorney in conjunction with our police chief. It's a result of some of the concerns that have been expressed by the community, and there have been absolute concerns and very valid, and I think this would sum up a lot of what the city's official positions on these items that have been brought forth, not only here but in other cities, and I think it's good that we address that, and it's very correct that we do it. So this is up for approval. Okay. So this is the City of Hawthorne's official statement regarding the recent ICE and Border Patrol operations on July 8th, 2025, which is today, right? Recently, the City of Hawthorne has experienced ICE and Border Patrol operations within our community. Community members have been understandably upset over the operations, particularly when federal agents wear masks, do not present law enforcement credentials, or utilize vehicles that are not clearly identifiable. As a result, those being detained, as well as witnesses to the detentions, have been unable to determine if those involved have been legitimate federal officers or potential imposters. These activities negatively impact our local economy and create fear, anger, and suspicions among community members. As such, the City of Hawthorne expresses the following official positions. The City of Hawthorne supports and stands by its immigrant population. That's the first thing. As with all state and local law enforcement, this is the second point. As with all state and local law enforcement agencies, the Hawthorne Police Department strictly complies with California state law as provided in Senate Bill 54 and Assembly Bill 2792. The Hawthorne Police Department does not participate in, nor does it assist with, the enforcement of civil immigration laws by federal agencies. The City of Hawthorne and its police department do not receive advance notice of federal immigration enforcement activities or actions. The fourth point, the City of Hawthorne does not contract with the federal government for immigration enforcement. Our fifth point, Hawthorne does not have a contractual obligations to hold ICE or Border Patrol detainees in the city jail. The Hawthorne Police Department has declined to temporarily house individuals detained for civil immigration violations by federal authorities. the 6th point, I believe. The City of Hawthorne fully supports those exercising their First Amendment rights by speaking, protesting, and expressing their views on any and all issues, so long that it is done peacefully and lawfully. The next point, the City of Hawthorne advises the public when witnessing a federal immigration enforcement actions to keep their distance from the activity and not to interfere. Call 911 and allow our local police officers agency, which is us, to respond and evaluate the situation. Hawthorne police officers will do what they legally can to keep the peace during those difficult encounters. Next point, the City of Hawthorne has Know Your Rights reference cards available for distribution to the public, and you can contact the Hawthorne City Clerk's office for more information, or if you would like to download anything related to those Know Your Right cards, you can visit the LA County Office of Immigrant Affairs at oai.lacounty.gov. Lastly, the City of Hawthorne has previously established a resource page, and we encourage our residents to monitor this page to stay informed. The page can be located at www.cityofhawthorne.org/residents/residents-resources. This is a difficult time for everyone. The Hawthorne City Council stands in solidarity with the whole of our city population. Our obligation will always be to provide for the safety and security of all our residents, businesses, and visitors. Okay, so if we could just go ahead and...
Yeah, to the chair.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you. Chief, can I ask for you to step up, please? I have a question. Thank you. Just from reading and looking at the statement, I saw it before we came out. Can you give me a scenario of what a call looks like coming into 911 and basically what would be the steps, the protocols, and or the scenario?
So all of this is its opinion at this point. We are at the police department obviously waiting for some direction from the city council on how to proceed, and the first step in this process will be a consensus from our elected officials, the city council, to put this messaging forward to our community. Once that occurs, the general framework would be if an individual person in the city of Hawthorne witnesses what they believe is potentially a federal immigration enforcement action within the city limits, and they call our dispatch center either via the 7-digit business line or 911, we will dispatch a Hawthorne police officer based on what calls are already in the queue and what the severity is of what is being reported to our dispatcher. Upon arrival, the Hawthorne police officer will attempt to identify if there is an officer in charge representing the Federal Immigration Authority, whether or not that would be HSI, ICE, or the Border Patrol, and we will attempt to obtain formal credentials from that individual. I do want to caution our Hawthorne community for purposes of transparency. We had a prior meeting on Monday, and I've done everything that I can to represent ourselves as transparently as I can. The federal immigration authorities do not have any obligation to honor a Hawthorne Police Department's request to identify himself or herself. And in that situation, we will have to rely on our police officers' instincts and experience to determine whether or not the enforcement action is valid or not.
I see. Let me just, first of all, for myself, I don't support anything of the sorts, with regards to what ICE is doing. I condemn all of the obvious that we're seeing on TV and, across California. Obviously, he has it in for California. I denounce everything that they're doing that is not of law, basically due process, basically just to identify themselves, right? And to be able to give their credentials. I mean, that's just wrong. I know here, you know, when we have a car that's pulled over or whatnot, if the driver feels compelled to have to ask for your badge number and your name, and or ask for a sergeant to come, you know, to the scene because he doesn't feel comfortable with the stop or what have you, they have that right. They have that right. I've been in similar situations. It's shameful, and it's really, it saddens me. I would myself, just like I did in marching for George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, you know, murdered on live TV, right? I would be marching right out there with them. And, you know, we don't want to discourage anyone from not marching, of course, peacefully. And I don't condone any destruction of property or anything like this. You know, that doesn't send a message of unity. It just, it makes it even worse, right? My concern is, and I've witnessed today, just today, Karen Bass approaching ICE and asking for credentials, and they basically told her to kick rocks, right? We see what's happening, and we see, you know, obviously the efforts that many communities in many cities are making to be in solidarity. Let me just make mention on a personal note. I worked for 17 years for the city of Los Angeles, where I was a caseworker, and I had many cases that I worked with CHIRLA and other organizations to assist them with attorneys and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This is the city of Hawthorne, and there are two differences here. We're a small city. We don't have as much resources. We do work with other organizations as such to provide those assistance. And so we rely on nonprofit organizations and those to help too. We don't have readily available individuals here at City Hall that could assist. I live in a building, I rent, and I have neighbors that are immigrants, and they are afraid, and they're approaching me all the time. And I'm assisting as much as I can with direction on what to do. Just yesterday, I went to across the street, the grocery store, and I had someone approach me in the parking lot. And it's really frightful. It's frightful, and I just want to make sure that our city is doing everything that we can. I know there's been efforts, from what I understand, in Downey with regards to making monies available to assist the residents, maybe legal defense funds and aids. And I understand there's an ordinance that was also implemented. I don't know, City Attorney, if we could even do something like that, because it could be perceived as gift of funds, which we cannot do. Vaughn, City Manager, I don't know if we have any discretionary funds and whether or not those discretionary funds could even be leveraged with regards to how far and how much can go to how many people are in need. I mean, these are all things that make common sense and we want to try and help with, but at the same time, we need to do our due diligence, because the last thing I want to do is to put folks in predicaments and perceive that we're giving away public monies. I understand it's an organization, our organization, the City of Hawthorne, is representative of all the people, all the residents in the City of Hawthorne. And I get that and I understand that, but I do want City Manager, City Attorney to provide a legal confidential to council on some of the things that I made mention here with regards to discretionary monies, with regards to aid of any sort, any kind. And then I want to see on just the meeting that you had, Chief, from what I understand with the group, what came out of it ultimately. I know there's a statement that we're reading. You know, I feel like what more can we do? I know there's a lot of folks indicating that we haven't done enough, but I know we've been putting out information on various Instagram, social pages. We've also put on our website resources and brochures and information. We've tried to make efforts available, and still it's not enough. Yeah, can you give me some?
If I may, I'd just like to provide some context on that, having been in the room on Monday.
Okay.
When parties from the city met with parties from, and please excuse me, I'm going to say Good Neighbors United as a general rule of thumb there. So I think that the biggest issue here is that in our current form of government, we give oral communications to members of our community, and we limit that oral communication to 3 minutes. I understand procedurally why we do that, but I'm also going to say there is nobody in the city council chambers tonight that can adequately explain what is going on with the immigration environment today in 3 minutes. There is a difference in language that we are using between Good Neighbors United and myself as a 31-year law enforcement professional for the state of California. Terminology such as kidnapping, bounty hunters, these are very specific items as a result of my training and experience. I don't believe we're speaking of the same things. All right, so there are opportunities to communicate so that we gain a greater understanding. But Councilmember Reyes English, what I would like to inform you of is what is in the statement has been reviewed by legal staff with the city attorney's office. It's been passed by the police department's management, and what is in that statement that we are proposing tonight is what I am comfortable of saying is legally defensible from both a federal perspective and a state perspective, and those are the two guiding organizations that I cannot, in good faith, under any circumstances, enact a policy for the Hawthorne Police Department or its staff members to engage in that's going to put our staff in direct conflict with federal law or state law. So I'm very, very comfortable with the proposed statement in front of you. And then lastly, I'd like to also make sure that everybody here tonight understands this was a compromise. Under no circumstances am I getting 100% of what I would like in that statement. Under no circumstances is the Good Neighbors United getting everything that they want. I think that this is a good working compromise. It's a good framework that we can establish as a city, showing support for our entire community and move forward from here.
Can you say, for instance, moving forward after, tonight and moving forward, because, ICE isn't going anywhere. They made that quite obvious today on TV that this is going to be a norm. Can you report back to us on, say, for instance, potential ICE raids, ICE interactions here in Hawthorne that we're going to be using the steps moving forward? Can you report to us if there's an opportunity where our officers have gone out to the location, have actually spoken to a federal official, has identified themselves and or not, because I really want to know the interaction and or not that is going to take place after we put out this statement.
After the fact, 100%.
Yes.
Ahead of time, unfortunately, I would absolutely not be able to provide that information.
No, I understand that. But I'm talking about today, moving forward. I would like to see regular updates, either through legal counsel, through, just a report out.
Certainly.
Where it's specific to federal agents and activities related to those. Yeah.
Yes, I don't see a problem with that. I can report back on the outcome of any encounters between the Hawthorne Police Department and federal immigration authorities.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, now I have some more, but go ahead.
Okay, Councilwoman, go ahead.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
So I wanted to ask our city manager, is it possible that we can resume the grocery giveaway that we were doing, that Dana was doing before?
That was not under my purview. That was under the elected city clerk, so we would need to ask her if she's able or why it did stop.
So misconception is that it was stopped by anyone other than myself. I did so because my volunteers, which I had maybe 30 volunteers, told me that they did not feel safe. I had the Delta organization offer to then handle all of the food to give away, but I'm worried very much about people being afraid to come and pick up the food. If it's advertised online or next door, wherever, I'm worried that ICE would come here and harass the students here or anyone coming to pick up the food, which would then put myself in direct conflict because I'm here to keep the community safe. And so that would cause many problems. And I don't see a lot of people coming out to collect the food if they're worried about what's going on right now. So that is why the food program is not happening right now. It has nothing to do with anyone forcing it to shut down. It's just that we just don't have the help anymore.
Thank you. So is there a possibility, I believe that there was a person in the audience talked about that they would collect food and they delivered it to people in the community. Is there a possibility that, Dana, you could work with that person to maybe get that food passed out?
So on any given day, when the food arrives here, we feed between 500 and 750 families. That is a lot of food. And there are times when, let's say in the summertime or a holiday where it's slow and we have a lot of food left over. That is not good either because that's wasting food. So I don't know if, unless I had a robust delivery service, several drivers, and then that would require some coordination as well to determine where are we taking the food to. With that stuff being public record, I don't know how that would work with ICE maybe finding out where we're delivering food to and then take them right directly to the home. That would be scary too. So, I'm open to ideas. I'm open to any type of conversation. If anyone wants to talk about that, please don't hesitate to call my office.
Okay. The other thing that I wanted to ask you, City Manager, is one day I was watching TV and Supervisor Hilda Solis had pulled together $100,000 to give out resources to other, I believe it was Huntington City, to the residents that are afraid to leave their house. So I was wondering if I reached out to our supervisor, Holly Mitchell office, to ask if our supervisor could do the same thing. And they gave me a website saying we needed to fill out a formal request. So I'm going to ask if you could maybe reach out to our supervisor and ask her if she could make the same donation to the city of Hawthorne for our residents, so that we could provide some of the resources to our residents that were mentioned.
Certainly.
Thank you.
To the chair. Chief, I'm sorry. I just wanted to ask if training is being given to the police department on how to act when they get on scene so that we don't get ourselves into a lawsuit with the federal government like Los Angeles City is going through right now?
So unfortunately, our police department staff is well-versed in addressing volatile situations involving outside law enforcement agencies. This doesn't just involve the federal government. So we do understand that there are certain lines in the sand that we do not cross in certain circumstances. This particular issue of immigration enforcement will require more specific training throughout our staff. It will trickle down and we will get ourselves up to speed on this.
Okay, thank you.
Sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again, I want to say thank you to all of you for coming to express this issue. Believe it or not, it's a deep, deep issue that touched my heart. And I feel like sometimes, listen to you, and I feel like crying because it touched me. I came here as an immigrant. For 41 years, I've been here, right? I never seen this stuff happen in the United States. And I told you guys a month ago, we only see this stuff in third world countries that are dictatorship under military rule. But now, unfortunately, we have somebody in the White House that doesn't believe in democracy or the Constitution. But I want you guys to know that I'm one of the people that is on the street every day, almost 7 days a week, 24/7. I have passed hundreds of those red cards to auto shops, to plumbers, to electricians that had been doing works with afraid of ICE. They have put blocked cars in the driveway so ICE would not come in. I have given cards to the parents that go pick up kids on preschools. I have gone and refer families so they can get pay and get assistance to pay their rent because they didn't have money on July 1st because she couldn't do housekeeping. She couldn't go and do cleanup. So behind the scene, I'm doing my best. And believe it or not, I'm afraid to go outside and protest because ICE can pick me up and send me back to my country, or even to one country that I didn't came from. My country is on the list that Donald Trump put to not allow immigrants to come in. So I'm on that list. So when you guys talk about, so just feel that I'm feeling your pain. And believe it or not, I wish we could do more. But we are a city that is basically governed by general law. We have to accept what the state tells us what to do, what the LA County tells us what to do, what the federal government tells us what to do. So we're doing our best. And even believe me, I asked the city manager a month ago to look into see if we could get money for legal issues. And perhaps I'm going to probably give some money out of my own pocket to your group or maybe even to the city so we can help. Because that is what my nonprofit used to, long time ago. We used to be community advocate that bring legal service to Hawthorne like 25 years ago to deal with immigration issue, about people how to apply for Social Security or Medicaid, Medicare. So I'm with you on this fight. And I'm going to do everything I can. And I know, sometimes we don't say too much over here because we are legally bound not to say or not to respond. Because then, we can be in big trouble with the federal government. And Hawthorne is a small city. We depend on the federal government for a lot of grants, especially for housing, for Section 8, or to help the homeless. So believe it or not, I'm going to every month different meetings with 16 different cities, try to figure out what to do. So I'm doing my best, believe me. And I know all of us over here, we feel your pain. And we feel the pain of the families because we see this stuff in the news. But we don't want, Marine Corps in our streets. We don't want the military tanks that come to Hawthorne Boulevard or Inglewood Avenue. And we don't want to put our police department into conflict with the federal government because they'll cut our grants. And then we don't have money to do all the protection like safety or the gangs or the narcotics. And for the young gentleman that spoke about transportation, metro, we depend on the metro system. And the gentleman behind you, the older gentleman, goes to those metro meetings. So talk to him. And believe me, I go to the meetings sometimes with the 16-seater. We're trying to solve the transportation problem from Inglewood, Hawthorne, Lenox, Gardena, Torrance, Carson, Manhattan Beach, Redondo Beach. We're all talking about how to solve the transportation issue. So it's in our radar, okay? And the young lady about 135th, believe me, I've been fighting a long time to fix that road and even to talk about traffic. But we have one problem there. You know why? Because the other side belongs to the county. As soon as you pass Lemoli, right? One side is LA County because it's not incorporated area, and another is Hawthorne. And for us to go put one speed hump over there, we have to go to hell with the county before we put a speed bump there. So believe me, it's also in our radar for a long time. But I'm going to keep working on it because I'm not a quitter. So we deeply, we all of us try to solve this issue, and sometimes it's out of our hands. The same time as that mall. We've been fighting for 30 years, but nothing is out of our hands. It doesn't belong to us. It's greed going around. We have this town basically, it's 5 families that owns all the developers in Hawthorne. And they're very greedy. And we've been fighting here, day after day, to develop Hawthorne for the benefit of all of us. But like I said, I'll do my best, whatever I can, and we'll talk. Okay? God bless you all.
Through the chair, can I clarify something? Just legally, as a staff member, we're not here to express our political beliefs. I just want to clarify certain things about the laws here that was discussed by some of the speakers, that another city passed an ordinance that requires their law enforcement to not wear a mask, for instance. The way our legal system is structured under the Constitutional Supremacy Clause, there are constitutional laws and laws related to that that's exclusively under the authority of the federal laws that takes precedence over state laws or city ordinance. Laws relating to immigration enforcement is exclusive jurisdiction of the federal law enforcement, not state, not local police. Then when you come to the hierarchies of laws, you have state laws that preempts city ordinance or city laws. Right now, there is pending in state legislation, Senator Wiener proposed a pending legislation that will prohibit law enforcement from wearing a mask. Now, City of Downey may pass this ordinance, but that ordinance is going to be preempted by state law if it passes. There's a question as to whether, since this is targeting ICE and federal agency, whether that is going to be overruled by federal exclusive immigration law enforcement agencies and how they go about doing their things. So I just want to clear that up. The city can't come up with an ordinance that would say, ICE agents must wear a mask when there's already state laws and federal laws as well. So I just want everyone to understand that.
No, that's good. I mean, information is important. More importantly, correct information is important. I have to give it up though to some of these cities that are trying, right? I mean, every day I'm listening to cities that are united with regards to condemning what is happening, and I have to condemn. I condemn all of that, but I have to commend the cities that are at least trying, in spite of its potential of really not holding any. It has no holding. No, it might just be disregarded, whatever you want to call it. But at least there's efforts, and that's something that I think we could try with regards to. I don't know, Vaughn. Maybe come back and tell us if we have any discretionary funds. I don't know. Can we use some organizations that are contracted with us to assist us in getting information to businesses? I heard over and over again that some businesses haven't received information with regards to the red cards or, resources. I don't know.
Well, we were waiting for direction. Tonight's the night that, as the chief mentioned, we're looking for direction.
Yeah.
How we're going to move forward, and we'll leave it up to council, and whatever direction that is given to staff, we will work diligently to follow up with the actions that are being asked of staff to complete.
But for now, I think we need a consensus or a vote on this statement.
I move on the statement.
Just a minute. It's my turn. Okay. Everybody else got to say a little. Look, I remember when I was in college, and we had that was a time when we had to deal with the Proposition 187 issue. I'm not here to like mention all my credentials as to my activism in the past and what I'm doing right now to be able to help our community. Okay, I rather work behind the scenes and make certain things happen that are going to help those people that are being victimized and affected by this. That's the most important part, isn't it? But instead of just reacting to any little thing that happens in our council meeting, I really, really appreciate you guys coming up here. I do, because this is your opportunity. I don't mind if people come, smirk, and say, "Hey, you, the mayor," and I'm only gonna whatever, all that stuff. I would rather you guys do that than one additional ICE agent, one additional National Guardsman or federal agency official march through our state and do anything to any of our community members. I would rather you come up at this meeting and say whatever you want to say. You can laugh about it, make fun of me, whatever, saying that you're not doing enough. I would rather you guys say that and accuse me of that, but ensuring that we're protecting our community and making sure that nobody else here gets affected by that. Because believe me, it's unfortunate and it's very scary how the federal government is watching council meetings, how they're watching what elected officials say, and you can see the results, guys. You can see the results. There's a direct correlation as to what's happening out there. What's happening in LA, with Karen Bass. Anytime she says something, more the next day. Anytime some of my friends in the Southeast City who are colleagues of mine say something, there's more, there's more. So I think it's important that we say something through this statement. I think you guys are right. We can be detailed and be, I wouldn't even call it transparency. I know we can call it that, but I would rather answer the questions that have been outstanding. These are questions that are outstanding that you guys want to know hey, you know what? Since Hawthorne hasn't said it, maybe they're doing something different than all these other cities that have stated these things. And I think we owe it to you to be able to clarify that and being as open with you guys about, hey, just saying, hey, guys, we're not doing this stuff. In fact, the Hawthorne Police Department declined to temporarily house individuals detained for civil immigration violations by federal authorities. Can you guys read in between the lines? Why we put that in there? Okay, I mean, we're actively taking a stance. I don't want to say anything about my elected official friends from other cities, but there's things that we can't do. But they're saying to do it anyways, and knowing that federal law trumps, local and state law. And, they're just maybe trying to appease people, trying to say something, but for just, to feel better about it. But the thing is that we're not going to be dishonest with you guys. We're going to tell you exactly how it is. I mean, we care. We want to make sure that when a police officer gets called out there, they're going to make every effort to be able to find out what's going on and who these people are and everything. We need to call it. But the thing is that, as the chief expressed to our friends from the group that we met with on Monday, that there's just some logistical aspects. It's like, you know what? If I told you how many police cars there are out on the street at one time in Hawthorne, you'd be like, oh, man. But that's just the way all police agencies work, right? It's not like 100 police cars in the city. So it's not like they can rush to here. They got to prioritize in a sense. And that very well might be the priority at that moment so that they could rush over there and be there in time to be able to see stuff in action. Other times, a lo mejor no, maybe not. So I really thank the group for being here, for the residents who have contacted me. It hasn't been many, to be honest with you, but people expressing themselves here is very important for us. And I remember when I used to be just a member of the community on the other side of the podium, and I remember the mayor was here. I mean, the young man right here with the hoodie, you remind me of me when I used to, come up and no, you don't have to. You won't. You won't ever be my way. So like I throw one back on you, buddy. But no te creas. All in good fun. I meant that all in good fun. But it does remind me of the activism and the importance of everybody to come and express themselves. I invite the community members, if there's something you'd like to know, or if there's something outstanding, any questions you have our police chief that's available to answer any questions. You have both of our captains that are available to answer any questions. You could do it at the city council meeting as well, but if you want an immediate answer, you can always get it from them. So I really want to protect the community. I really don't want them to come back in here. It's not a pretty sight to see that stuff unfolding in front of you. It's ugly. It's very emotional. And I mean, I'm not going to say much more about that because I don't think I need to. Those just like, that's not something I want to relive seeing. I mean, I mentioned that I saw something unfold over here on 120th and Hawthorne. It's like the ugliest things. So, right.
I made a motion for the
Second. Everyone, please vote.
The votes are in. Voting reflects mayor and council voting yes.
All right, thank you, guys. Thank you, the community members, for expressing themselves and everybody for giving their feedback. They're very important feedback. And as I mentioned, as soon as I find out, establish those things that I'm working on, I'll let the community know. And city manager knows the stuff I'm working on. So I'll let you guys know. So we can celebrate that part, that we're getting information out there and getting resources out there. Okay. Your report.
I want to thank everyone for coming out. I am so glad that someone brought up the idea of the food drive because I have gotten calls for that. And it's a bit disheartening to not be able to serve the community in the way that I've been accustomed to over my time here. I'd like to ask the young people here to, we can always have our differences, but please be respectful of the people that you're asking to help you. No need to not address the mayor as the mayor. And if you choose to do that, then just don't say his first name because that is very disrespectful. And that goes for all of our council members in general. Be respectful for the people that you want to help you because that's important. I, again, would like to offer my notary services or anything that I can do immigration-wise. I am an authorized immigration notary. I am authorized to help with immigration, with the site, with acknowledging signatures. Not that that's truly helpful in this moment. I don't know. I hope it is. I also want to let you all know that thousands of red cards have been ordered. We do have to wait for them to come in order to distribute them to, I guess, businesses and whatnot. The businesses themselves can also order them. They're free if you order them on a particular website, and I can give you that information if you guys just give me a call, or I can make sure that you all have that information. And I just want to, again, thank everyone for coming out. I think everybody here feels the pain of what's going on, either from experience or from just watching it. Any person with a heart would not be able to watch that and just be okay with it. None of us here are okay with it. But there are things that we can't say and things that maybe we're working on that we can't say because we are being monitored and watched. So that's the reason why I say don't put any addresses anywhere. I can't do a food drive until I know that there won't be any major activity in front of the building here where we have to then, have issues right here at City Hall. So I just thank you all so much. I really do applaud you all coming out. I mean, you all are an inspiration to me. You really do, I don't even know if I was that far advanced when I was your age, but I'm telling you that you guys are really great. I love what you guys are doing, and I really do appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Thank you, everybody, for coming out this evening. We appreciate each and every one of you. I wanted to give thanks to the Cosmot Company and to our city manager and the staff for bringing us an update. I did want to say that I 100% agree with my colleagues that we do need to address things like the things that we can control. and understand the things that we can't control. And the mall is one of those things that we can't control. So we need to focus our energies on things that are within our control. And that's, you know, working on the facade, getting properties built that are mixed use, and homeowners, getting more homeowners in the community. Because with homeownership, we have pride and we have a family that's anchored into our community. And so making the Hawthorne corridor pedestrian friendly designed is also great. I'd also like to give a shout out to Kiwana also for moving our summer registration to an online program. That was really great. We used it and it was so much better than standing in this 100 people line in the sun trying to get registered, in hopes that we made it in time to get registered. I would also like to thank the city attorney and the police chief for explaining who has jurisdiction in our efforts to help our city understand what we can and cannot do. I'd like to echo the mayor and Mayor Pro Tem, what they said about walking a fine line. And I'm actually addressing you guys, if you want to listen, that would help. Just like we listen to you guys, listen to what we have to say too. We walk a fine line, and we don't want to draw the ire of the federal government, because we have to service our entire community. And so when we, if we were to sit up here and tell you that we're going to stop immigration authorities from coming into our community or arresting people or require them to show their face or require them to show ID, I'd be lying to you, because it won't happen. If sanctuary cities worked, we are a sanctuary state. That means that the federal government should not be allowed in our state. Is it working? No. But if we do a lot of what other cities are doing and what you guys are asking us to do, you are basically opening the door for the federal government to come in and put more pressure on the community, the very community that you want to protect. So as city council and mayor pro tem, we have to sit here and think of the community as a whole, how we can protect everybody, not just one person or one group of people, but the whole community. Our police department, we are not going to put our police department in danger of stepping over that fine line, and now they're in jail. They get arrested. Now we're in a lawsuit. LA City is in the middle of a lawsuit, a federal lawsuit from the federal government for doing exactly what we're not supposed to do. So trust us when we tell you it may not look like we're doing anything, but we are. But there are certain things, I'm not going to lie to you. You will never get a lie out of me. I will not virtue signal just to appease you guys so you'll go away. You feel like you have a win. Because you're going to be disappointed and angry when it doesn't work. And you're going to be right back up here yelling and screaming because you're even more offended that we haven't protected you when we said we would. So I will never lie to you like that. I can't. It's not in my nature. But my heart goes out to the family, the families that are being affected by this. It's horrible. But as city council, we're limited on what we can do. But I appreciate you guys being here and speaking out and being peaceful. As a military person, I would ask you one thing. Just like the city council asks you to be respectful when you come up and speak to us, I appreciate that. But I'd take you way more seriously if you would stand when we do the Pledge of Allegiance. Because that flag does not represent our government. That flag represents the people of this country. You guys, you're disrespecting yourself when you don't stand up for the pledge. You're disrespecting the country and the people who fought for you. It has nothing to do with the government. You're asking us to come here. You come here and you ask us to do things for you, but you disrespect the very country and people that you're asking for help from. So that would be my request back to you guys. You have a lot of demands for us. I'm being honest about how I feel about the situation, what we can and can't do, and I hope you respect my response just like we respect yours. So I appreciate you guys for being here. I would like to ask the city attorney, just for clarification so we can get it out there, for public transportation, who has jurisdiction over public transportation?
I think it's mostly the county, and on the freeways, it would be the state Caltrans. But the Caltrans is the state agency that handles the freeways. Because transportation if it's just within Hawthorne, it would be a different issue, but transportation carries you through different areas of the county. So it's mostly the county, the MTA, that would have jurisdiction over that.
So the city of Hawthorne does not and cannot address transportation issues.
It depends what kind of transportation we're talking about. If it's just within the city borders, I'm sure we could come up with something, but if it's going through different jurisdiction, then we would not have that.
Okay, thank you. And city manager, are you in a position to talk about the Holly Glen Dog Park issue?
Yes and no. What I know of, and maybe I did ask the captain to speak to the gentleman that spoke earlier about his concerns there. We will get it cleaned up if it needs to be cleaned up, but that's a canine park that was placed there for training of our police dogs.
Oh.
So as to my knowledge, and the captains can speak on this, or the chief, that as currently it's not set up for the public. Now, is that an option? We can explore it, but as of today, my knowledge is that that park was due for training for our canine dogs.
Okay.
But it's no excuse on the look of it, and we will investigate if it needs to be cleaned up.
Can we get some signage on it then if we're not going to have it open to the public?
If that's the case, yes, we will.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And then one more question. I thought I saw a list of resources like food banks that we have in the neighborhood, in our community and surrounding communities. Was that something that we put out?
Yes, on our website, we have a tab, residents, under resources, and there is a list of community food banks in the city. With direction of council, with the approved letter, as we put that on our platform, maybe we could revisit on putting those items as food on front of the website per council's direction.
Yeah, at least a link.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then just as a notice, we are in the middle of the time where we fly our banners in honor of our military people. Some of these people are still serving. Some serve with honors, wounded in battle, and others were killed in action. And so I'd like to encourage my fellow council colleagues to support the military banner program. We have 13 remaining killed in action Hawthorne members that still don't have flags or have banners. And unfortunately, we're not able to donate through the stipend program, but we can personally donate. And I would like to commit to buying 2 banners, which would bring the remaining down to 11 of the KIAs that we have, Hawthorne resident KIAs. And KIAs is killed in action. And then last but not least, I'd like to request to honor Mrs. Vera Eskridge this evening as we close our council, and to request, with agreement of the council, a proclamation for her.
Councilwoman Johnson, can I get clarity on the donation? Is that a personal donation, or is that out of your?
It's personal.
Personal, okay.
Because they're not on the list, so we can't do it out of our stipend program, and I'm asking the council to also, if they could, to donate to, so we can get our KIAs.
If possible, can you provide the updated price for the banners?
Kyle, do you have the price?
My understanding, last year the price was $200 per banner. My understanding is there's a slight price increase this year, but at our commission meeting yesterday, we were not able to get the updated information, but I believe it's under $220 per banner.
Okay. So roughly 220 per banner.
If I can add one more thing, our local Vietnam Veterans of America chapter has funded 6 of the 19 KIAs.
Okay, thank you. And we still have now 11 left. If we could donate any and everything that you can possibly afford, thank you. Yes.
Okay, we'll speak to the appropriate individuals on this dais
Yes.
for that right after. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you all so much for coming here tonight. Really, truly appreciate you guys pouring out your hearts, putting so much thought into every last word that you guys have said. I heard every last one of you say how this has impacted you, family members, and the community. I really, truly think you guys are so brave to come up here and let us know how you feel. You guys are so young, but yet so bright. And you guys really understand. You are our future leaders because some of the ideas that you guys have suggested was very interesting. And you guys put a lot of thought into what you had to say. And so I really, truly appreciate that. I myself have been doing things behind closed doors, trying to figure out what it is that we can do and how I can help you. Being on the call with Mike Bonta, our district attorney, trying to find out what it is and like understand what I can bring back to our city and say, hey, can we try this? Can we try this? You know, whatever it is that we can do, because it's really not an immigration problem, like the gentleman said earlier. It's a we problem. It's our community. Because what affects one person, it affects the other person. We all are here and we support each other in different ways, whether it be going to school together, working together, engaging with each other together. At any point, we are all one. And so we as council are committed to doing what we can. And I know you guys are in pain. I know you guys are hurting. I know you guys are afraid. And the fact that you guys came here tonight to display the importance, how this is so important, and how we got to do something about what's going on, that's a big deal. You know, that is a big deal that you guys are so young coming here to say. So, again, from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate that. Hopefully, we can figure out something, starting a food drive back up. Like I mentioned earlier, you guys say that you delivering food. I have already instructed our city manager to try to reach out to our supervisor and see what other funds that we can get. And then also in addition to that, I will be reaching out to our assembly member as well and see if there's any discretionary funds that our assembly member can provide us as well. So we are out there, boots on the ground. Again, when those cards come in that Dana mentioned, for us to be able to pass those out to the businesses. And I also know that every council meeting, we have businesses that come into our lobby, and it's an opportunity to give those cards to them and then ask them to pass that out. Also with our chamber, we can talk to our chamber and ask her to pass out those cards to the other businesses. And what else? What else can we do? Again, our goal is to do what we can, because again, this is a we problem, not just an immigrant problem. Just know that we collectively are doing what we can. And again, you guys are so awesome. Thank you so much. That is it for me. But I just want to say I'm really proud of you guys, and I appreciate you guys. You guys are future leaders. You rock. Thank you.
Councilwoman Angie Reyes English.
Thank you, Mayor. Let me just first of all thank our city departments for a lot of great good work on our agenda, a lot of promising, especially our economic development with Cosmont. Look forward to that. Something that's way overdue, and I really want to see the engagement among the businesses and really working also with the chamber. Pat's been part of the chamber for a long time. She's going to be handling some of our ribbon cutting, and she's going to be doing some other things for us. So I really look forward to her helping with regards to making contacts for Cosmont so that we could host, you know, public town halls and things like this when the community engagement period opens up. So I do look forward to that. There was some legislation in Sacramento that's coming down, and I don't necessarily think we had any discussion on that this evening, but there's some serious bills that we really need to take a look at. And I suggest we do that. I don't know how soon we could bring this maybe in August to the council, but it might be too late because a lot of these bills are moving fast. And yeah, so we'd really like to take a look at that. One in particular that I'm looking at is Senate Bill 445 from Wiener. That's basically the transportation project permitting, which basically will give authority to transportation agencies on developments and take it away from local controls such as us, municipalities. So there's great concern there. I want to ask ultimately the council to oppose SB 445 and see if we could maybe send a letter to Sacramento, but this is giving wide, you know, wide discretion to transportation authorities, and it's pretty concerning. And I don't know how you all feel about that, but I'd like to send a letter, and I'd like to have my council colleagues to join in doing that.
We could put it on the next agenda.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, I know.
We cannot.
It's not on the agenda.
It's not on an action item now.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Maybe we need to make a special.
But individual, we can send that, right?
Yeah.
We can send individual letters.
Can we individually ask you to put us on a letter that other individuals are going to be on?
No. No.
Let me just make mention that Senate Bill 445 makes sweeping changes to the state's process for permitting local projects and significantly impairs local government's ability to manage public infrastructure, ensure workers and public safety, and coordinate across infrastructure sectors. Most concerning, the bill grants project proponents, public or private, the authority to advance projects that could significantly alter or relocate critical infrastructure such as water, wastewater, power, without consulting the affected city. So if you guys want to move fast, I say we do that. Okay. Well, you can say that when you talk.
You have to send individual.
Okay. Okay. So
Sorry. Go ahead.
that's there. What else? If you haven't seen our Hawthorne City View, take a look at that. Vaughn, do we have these outside on our in the lobby anywhere?
Yes, we do. They just arrived today, so we have them at the information booth outside the chamber here.
Okay.
They're online.
Okay. And then can you provide any updates? Have we had any callers calling in for the immigration red card, know your rights?
Not to me personally. I
No.
think the clerk, she's taken the lead on that. She's actually, to give her kudos, she had those cards more than 30 days ago, maybe
Yeah.
45 days. So
Yeah.
she was proactive with those cards, and she's been a great leader, you know, with getting that information out.
Yeah. I have some, and I've been giving them out, and I've been assisting families. And just like the mayor, I really haven't been receiving calls, but I have a lot of folks that get a hold of me. I'm accessible online. You could look me up. I'm not, you know, I'm an open book, and I all the time respond. So, you know, anyone could do that. I do want to see, though, some concerns that were addressed with regards to the east side of Hawthorne, Ms. Gonzalez's concerns with regards to 135th and Cerise and Kornblum. And I know that Mayor Pro Tem made mention that, you know, portions of the 135, which is tricky, is LA County. And this has been something that's been often told to us, especially during election season, right? If it's not 135, it's the mall. And unfortunately, this is where we're at, right? Yeah. what else do I want to say? Yeah,
Councilwoman Reyes-English, would you like staff to relook into that, even though the possibility might not be there, but do you want us to reassess?
yeah, I
that
think it's
street?
important. Yeah,
Okay.
let's reassess that.
We will.
And, you know, with regards to, you know, Ms. Vargas and other folks that came up and spoke passionately, we hear you and we see you too. You know, nuestra gente, la raza, right? So myself, born and raised in Idaho. My parents are from San Antonio, so we're Tejanos. A mother of 3 daughters, a grandmother of 8. We're mixed race, black and brown. PTA president at Lusinger High School. So I was the one that was fighting along with students for rights at Lusinger. So I'm not trying to prove a point or basically, you know, justify what I'm doing and not doing. But there's a story behind each and every one of us, right? Unless you know our footsteps and what we've had to walk to get here, it's very important that you keep that in mind, that we all have a story too. It's really bad in Idaho. You know, I have family still in Idaho. I'm one of 11. Been here in California 40 years, married military, stationed in Idaho from California. So it's a scary situation that we're in. And my family back home in Idaho, who I talk to on a regular basis, they're saddened by it, even my family in San Antonio and my family in Burlington, Washington, Bellingham, Washington, family in Oregon. I mean, I've got family all across the state. I mean, it's very disheartening. But anything I could do to lend my voice, I think you heard me tonight. I don't agree, but I'm only one. And at the end of the day, you already saw what's happening to us as elected. You know, we don't have a sense of authority, and it's something that we have to tread lightly. But I'm glad that at least we made a stance to meet with you all, to engage, to hear your concerns, and more importantly, come up with a statement. I think those are first steps, and I think those are important steps. And it's passion, right? It's passion. Your passion might not be my passion. My passion might not be your passion. But at the end of the day, we respect what we have to say. And that's what it is, you know. My 3 daughters, they're adults. You know, I've got one turning 40, and they could care less about politics. They hate it, just because of this reason, you know. It's something that they believe in, and they don't necessarily like what I do, but at the end of the day, you know, I'm their mom, they're my children, and we kind of respect one another and what their beliefs are and what my beliefs are, right? But serving the public at large is something that I like to do. I enjoy what I do. I think I'm good at what I do, with the experience that I've had, not to be conceited, but just because of the passion that I have in serving the community at large and the years of service, more than 25 years in assisting where I can. And so I'm going to continue to do that. I'm going to continue to push. As long as I'm sitting here providing direction and providing what makes sense and common sense, I think that's important too. Not trying to, you know, pretend or think that, you know, we could do more than what we can, because, you know, at the end of the day, right now it's about survival. It really is. You know, I'm brown skinned, you know. Well, other people would say I'm white, but yeah, it's a scary situation, you know. Every day walking, being brown skinned anymore or black, right? So we hear you, we appreciate you, we truly commend the efforts, and continue to engage. There are people that have hit me up on Instagram and have asked me through our City of Hawthorne page, what are you doing to address the immigrant community? We have put resources, and this was something we did, Vaughn, back in May, I want to say May.
Prior to that,
Yeah.
Councilwoman, yes.
Yeah. And then I've even played with our 311 app to ask questions just to see how it responds with the bot. What is it, bot?
CityBot.
Our city bot, and where you ask a question to see how it responds. I've been playing with it just to see if it's correct information or if it has any information. There's been a couple of hit and misses, but I think whenever there's council direction to provide as much information as we can, we try to really do our best. And if we have organizations that could assist us in making outreach efforts with these types of brochures and or, immigration know your right cards or things like this, I want to know how we could maybe work with some of those. There's a lot of passion in them too, right? Because they're going to them for help and resources. And with regards to food, I know Del Air Church, Pastor John Jefferson, just today, constantly on his website is giving away foods at his church. So great efforts on behalf of the faith communities and organizations. And thank you staff, thank you Chief, thank you Captain Lane, Captain Port, and Josh is our IT guy, director, that constantly has to update the website and do things as fast as he can whenever there's direction from here, and Greg for your work, and housing. Thank you, Felice, too, everybody. And thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Mayor Pro Tem Alex Montero.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again, actually, I have to say thank you for all of you, especially for you guys to stay, because most of the time you guys come and leave without us finish the meeting. So I appreciate you staying and listen to us all the way to the end. Like all my colleagues have said, we are in this fight together. Okay, so we have a role to do. You guys have a role to do. So I'm not gonna say that much because I already said a lot. But whatever, you can reach out to me and I can help whatever I can. All right, because like I said, I've been in this town for more than 25 years, and I've been helping families, especially the low-income families. I have been on the school board, and now I'm over here. So, and I continue to help families every single day. So you can reach out to me, like Councilwoman English said, Del Air Baptist Church, you give foods every Friday, right? So just go over there. It's like on 118th Place, I believe. Yeah, and Inglewood, make a left turn, you find the Del Air Baptist Church over there. And some other churches give food too. I think I have a list, so I might send it to Vaughn to put on the website. So I want to say thank you to all of you again for coming, and believe me, we take all these issues to the heart and we try to fix problems. And that's what we've been elected to serve you, and we're trying to serve you the best we can. I want to thank all the head departments. I want to thank the chief and the captains because and the public relation because they did coffee with a cup at the McDonough on Rose Grand and La Mole. Close by. It was very good, and we have conversation with the public, and even the chief educated me in some issues that I was not aware of. So thank you, chief, for that education lesson. I want to thank Vaughn to give us a list of accomplish all the city departments working hard every day, and like we say, the state of California, and that is what, I went to a conference about a few months ago, and then I told them we need to pay attention what the legislature is doing in Sacramento, interfering with our ability to govern, right? So one of these bills, SB 79, that was allowed more 4 to 7 multifamily housing developed near the major transit stop, train, subway, light rail, high-frequency bus, bypassing, restricting local zoning, includes CEQA, streamlined for trans-agency-owned parcel, and require low-income units to set aside. Clear Senate is the bill basically, would put high rise in Hawthorne Boulevard, because Hawthorne Boulevard is a transit-oriented corridor, or Inglewood Avenue. So, and you guys know that Hawthorne is the most densest city in the United States. Number 7, because of the square footage, right? Because we've 5.9 square footage and we got close to 90,000 people. So we are the most dense populated city, number 7 in the United States. So we need to protect our neighborhoods, and Sacramento is not doing, is aggravating the situation more and more. But I'm glad that we are doing economic development, because that's one of the things that I've been fighting for almost 8 years, to bring more prosperity to Hawthorne, and to bring, Hawthorne to be like Ms. Valentine used to say, a destination, right? Because we don't want to see all these train and bus going by and not stop in Hawthorne, and then we just wave on them, right? They pass by and don't stop. They don't eat. They don't shop. They use our streets because they get out of the 105, the 405, and cloud our streets. Traffic jam. It's impossible, after 5 o'clock, all these streets are packed with cars, but they don't stop. They make pollution, they drive by, and that's it. So we need to stop this bleeding Hawthorne. We need to do something. But I want to say thank you to all of you again. And unfortunately, I've been under the weather since the last council meeting. I said my head was on the cloud. Believe me, still on the cloud for these past 2 weeks. So, but I'm glad to see that the city met with the group on Monday, and it was a compromise for us to put this statement out, because definitely what's happening in the neighborhoods across California is unconstitutional. It's unconstitutional, and we have lost a sense of dignity and pride, in our government, and that is so sad to see what's happening. So on that note, I want to say all of you good night, and I want to talk to the Good Neighbor United. That's what you guys call it. Yeah, yeah. Because maybe before, see me outside, okay? And we will talk, because I'll give you something. I appreciate all of you for, again, thank you for us, our city. We are doing the best we can, and our staff work 24/7, especially in the orange shirt and the parks and recreation, keep our parks clean and the pools, et cetera, et cetera. So God bless you all. Thank you.
Nothing?
Can I just say real quick, Metro South Bay Sector Board, I sat as a board member, and they meet in the city of Inglewood at City Hall. And, it's not there anymore? Okay, well, South Bay Sector Board. And that's where you could make complaints, and you could ask for additional stops, because oftentimes it's made to the public where stops are being taken away. And there's other stuff happening with regards to bus and stuff like this, but you're probably talking about more like rail and things like that, right? You can't engage, but I'll get with you too. But yeah, transportation, Metro, and other Caltrans and other transportation authorities. Okay, but I'll get with you. Thanks.
Yep. All right. Thank you. All right. Thank you all for being here. I mentioned that earlier, and I say it again. Thank you for expressing your constitutional right to express yourself and help make a difference. As part of that, it's like we have to watch out who we elect to these political offices, and the situation is coming down federally, so we have to recognize that the person that is within the White House is chosen through the Electoral College. Okay, we might have like a lot. This next time around, we might have a bigger percentage of people voting against the contrarian, the person that's the contrary. But we still have those other elements of our country that participate in the Electoral College, which could still sway it in the opposite direction that we wanted it to. So we just gotta recognize how that works, and the battle's not necessarily going to be fought here in California. It could be fought you might have to drive next door or some of the other swing states to be able to affect change to help get the messages out. So that's something that's very important that you got to remember, right? We can be all gung ho and everybody here's all, yeah, well, it's like 100% going for the candidate that we want here. But we got this rest of the country that could be, choosing somebody else, right? So, that's why everybody wants to go to popular vote. But then there's the other elements too, as to then what about all the other states? Do they get neglected in the process? So that's the big debate. But we got to recognize that the battle for the presidency is not going to be won in California. It's going to be somewhere else, right? So just be conscious of that. In the swing states, yes. I attended the Baldwin Park officer Samuel Rivera's memorial service, and we had a delegation of Baldwin Park, Hawthorne police officers that were there. So thank you for being both at the prayer service and at the funeral. Thank you so much. This Friday, I'll be presenting along with Josh Armstrong. Saturday? Will it be Saturday? Josh Armstrong, can you raise your hand over there? He's the head of he's the main guy in our IT department. Did you correct me the last time? I got it right. He's the main guy that takes care of all our information technology. He's the director. So it's going to be me and him. We're going to be presenting in Coronado to a collection of elected officials in the Independent Cities Association. And what we're going to be presenting is, the title of the presentation is, the session is 24-Hour City Hall, How AI Can Help Us Better Serve Our Constituents. They called us and they wanted us to present. That just showing you that, we're cutting edge on a lot of things out there, that they noticed us and they wanted us to talk about it. There's all these things, other things that we could talk about. The coffee with the cop, man. And we started that here. All these other programs, the medical program, we're talking police department, and then a lot of our city hall stuff. And look, our recreational programs are the envy of the South Bay. Fully loaded, man, fully loaded. And that's one thing that I want to make sure everybody understands is that people were figuring, I do support the concept of giving priority to Hawthorne residents first. So if there's some way we could roll that in there, and if it's not the case, if we could make it the case, because we want to make sure Hawthorne residents get first dibs on these signups. I think it's very important. But, within the first day, weren't all the programs already full? Kawana? Yeah, right?
Yes, they were for swimming, not the first day. Maybe first 3 days.
First 3 days, that's come on, And then we're using technology so people could sign up, and that's a good thing. So thank you. I see that I'm not the only one that likes guayaberas out there. So there, you guys see that? There's somebody else that does like them. Maybe that person's guayaberas maybe nicer than mine, but I'm glad I'm not the only one that likes them. So. I do agree, ma'am. I think we could, if there is a traffic survey that already exists, Akbar, or if there's something that we could do, or if there's just something we could evaluate going through 135th, east from Prairie on 135th all the way through, I don't think we should just, get, what do you call it? I don't think we should write off the opportunity of working with the county to try to see what they could do on their extension of the 135th going to Crenshaw. So I think that's still something we could take a look at, if possible, if we have some resources. Okay? So if you could just take a look at it, just let us know if that's something we already have information for, whatever your evaluation is, sir. Us a memo, if you could. Local control versus state control. I saw it in a couple of things. We're concerned that this senator, he wants to run for state office, but he's just totally screwing up the state with all his wacky ideas and all these things that he, He wants to run for Congress. I say I hope he wins so he could cause problems for them over there. And, right, he could go, actually when I heard that I said, good, then he's not going to be screwing around over here. But what local control means is that we get to make the decisions, that are best for Hawthorne. So without that local control, we run into these things where like they tell us what we have to build. We can't say, hey, you know what? This is already congested right here. There's just too many people. Adding this would cause these problems. We can't make those decisions. He's not looking at those things. He's just thinking, this guy came from out of state, all of a sudden got lucky, landed like a lawyer's job in congested San Francisco. And then he decided to run for supervisor office. That's why you're experiencing all the things that you're experiencing over there, miss. That's why he comes up with, every place, all of California, I could apply whatever I see around here right in front of me when I open up my door here in San Francisco, and that's not the way it should be. Every suburb, every other urban area has a distinct properties, distinct characteristics that you can't use the same paintbrush to paint all the other communities with. So this guy's just totally out of sync. I think hopefully there's enough people, our own state senator and our state assemblywoman, that can listen to us and advocate, not vote for this. And we got to pay attention to how they vote, because then if they're voting for this, then they're kind of just, so we got to just take a look and take a stand against them too and inform them. Yeah, because here we are. I'm bashing Scott Wiener, and it's our own people that are, okay, so there you go. What? Okay. Thank you, Councilwoman. And so it's also the state control that we have to defer to the state when it comes to creating our own enforcement issues. The state says you can't do this, you can't do that. The state dictated what the penalties would be for shoplifters. It had to take another proposition for us to counter what the state put into play. A bill that, remember we voted, shows. And then now we want to do certain things here where we want to say, hey, we want to take these extra enforcement actions, et cetera. And now our hands, I don't want to say our hands are tied, but our hands are tied. How else could you explain it? So we need to be conscious. There's a lot of other legislative bodies that are actually need to be held accountable, truly need to be held accountable. And it's not just the Hawthorne City Council. You got your congresswoman that you could also go talk to about things, or your assemblywoman, your state senator, your supervisors as well. Okay. And one of the other things that I wanted to say is that it's really unfortunate what we're experiencing here in California in particular, and some of the other urban areas. Is it targeted? Yes. Is somebody trying to get a reaction from these states and these cities, in particular some of the cities that I've mentioned? Yes. Okay. So just make sure you are careful and support a candidate that's not going to be pushing for those types of policies. I wish we could do more, but God willing, maybe the midterm elections will change around, the dynamic in the Congress, and that's where we have to pay attention to also, right? But there's also a lot of things happening in the world that I just don't think we could just disregard. Everything that's happening in the Ukraine, that's still happening. What happening over here with Iran and Israel, between them, it's kind of unsettling. Then the Palestinian issue with Gaza and what's happening to all the people being victimized over there. And our government just being one-sided about stuff. There's people being victimized. And so we can't neglect all those things. So those causes are still out there, guys. And I think we just need to just be conscious about it, right? And of course, our cause here, that we gotta focus and just hope it goes away, and just do whatever we can to pressure and just make, I don't know what's gonna happen. So a lot of great suggestions that were made by our council member colleagues, the red cards, the city clerk's on that. The monies that we were going to try to look at to be able to possibly offer some resources, and a couple of, our city police officers and the chief already are very well aware of what they need to do if in case they're called to any of these locations. So thank you again for being here. And so we were going to close the meeting in honor of Councilwoman Johnson. Your request was for. Okay, so if we could just close the meeting in honor of Vera Eskridge, and if we could close our eyes and just pray for her repose. Okay, thank you. One thing that I did not mention was, and very important, and is that our first movie in the park is going to be held this July 11th. Everything will start at 6 o'clock, okay? 6 o'clock. And the movie is going to start most likely around 8 p.m. And the movie is going to be called, is Minecraft? Let's see who's in here. That looks like it's Jack Black. Is it Jack Black? And then the guy who was Aquaman, who was that? Jason Momoa, right? Or Samoa, or Momoa? Yeah, but I think he is from one of those islands. But yeah, so I mean, that's what I need you guys to help us out. But at 6 o'clock, this is very important. We're going to be celebrating first live performance here in the city of Hawthorne by this group based out of Hawthorne. They're called The Heart Tones. The Heart Tones. And they play an eclectic mix of, like oldie type music infused with a little bit of rock, with like an old school type of vibe. It's going to be really good. I think you guys are going to really enjoy it. We really need to come out and support them because they're very excited. They're doing this for free for the community. And we want to make sure we promote our own because we have Tyler, the Creator. We have Kuko, the Beach Boys were from here. Sonny Bono, who, resided here as well. Corrupt lived here. Who? Emmett Rhodes, was here. We have a lot of talent here, so we want to make sure that we promote them. So if you guys could come out and support them at 6 o'clock, that would be great. You guys are going to have fun. And the group is called The, Thee, Heart Tones. Okay? I bought their record, and I love it. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. And we want to make sure that people can come out, and we're going to have a presence from are we going to have a presence? Chief, are we going to have a presence?
We will.
Yeah, we're going to have a presence. We're probably going to have the what do you call it? The van, the community van? Or the community trailer. So we just want to make sure, we need the community trailer here for this event. We want to make sure it's there. Okay? So thank you all for being here. The meeting's adjourned at 9:07.